Hello boys and girls, a very good evening and welcome to this live session on Quantitative Aptitude as a part of the SSC CGL exam refresher brought to you by Talent Sprint. I hope all of you are healthy and your preparation for the SSC CGL exam, which is tentatively scheduled, the Tier 1 exam, which is tentatively scheduled from August 1 to August 20, is on track. Now before we begin, let me give you a update on general awareness. Well, I am not your trainer for general awareness, but then important one, and I'm sure this could be I hope this could be a question in your SSC CGL Tier 1 exam where you have the general awareness section. Well, you must have heard that Achal Kumar Jyoti has been appointed as the new Chief Election Commissioner, right? He is a 1975 batch IS officer. Of course, he is retired now and he'll be serving in this position from 6th of July, right? From 6th of July 2017 until January next year, right? The current Chief Election Commissioner is Nazim Zaidi, who will retire on 6th of July, and then Achal Kumar Jyoti will take up the position, right? He is ex-secretary from Gujarat. So, well, that's one piece of information. Just make sure that you read more about it and get to know the details so that you have one more point covered before you go for your SSC CGL exam. Well, the point that I'm trying to make here is that read as much as you can, all right? Today's session, of course, is on quantitative aptitude, but the idea is when it comes to general awareness, I know a lot of you have given us feedback about the content that we have, right? And I kind of agree with what you have said, that it's not complete. A lot of other areas have to be covered. But you also got to understand that teaching general awareness is not possible. I mean, if only history has to be covered, it would take 80 sessions, and even then we'll not be able to cover the entire of history, right? Understand, general awareness, especially when it is the SSC exams, right? Anything can be asked, right? Everything under the sun is general awareness. They can ask you a question on history, geography, polity, economy, general sciences, right? Like physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, botany, right? Whatnot, right? And of course, current affairs, books and authors, important days, etc. So the whole idea is to kind of do exhaustive reading and remember things, right? It's not just about learning something. You got to remember things so that you can reproduce it as and when required, right? As demanded in your exams. All right. So download apps which can help you. I mean, this is mobile generation. We know that almost everyone uses a smartphone today, right? So download apps which can help you get such updates and keep yourselves updated about what is happening around you, right? This is only for current affairs, of course, but even otherwise you got to learn through a lot of reading material for all these topics like history, geography, etc. So remember, Achal Kumar Jyoti is the new Chief Election Commissioner, or he's gonna be the new Chief Election Commissioner from the 6th of July. Let's get back to the subject which I can teach, which is quantitative aptitude. So today's session, like you all know, is on quantitative aptitude, and I think this is the first session as a part of the SSC CGL exam refresher that we have. Now we'll be doing a series of live sessions before you go for your real exam, which I said is from August 1 to August 20, right? Now, what will these sessions do for you? Well, it's just to kind of add value to your preparation by solving questions that were asked in the previous year's papers. Now you know that, or if you're not aware, let me throw some light on this point, that at least 45 different question paper sets were produced last year by SSC to conduct the CGL exam, right? And we have got access to these 45 sets. I'm sure all of you can also find it in Google. Now what we are trying to do here is choose questions from these sets and discuss through these live sessions, right? All the concepts and different question types have been covered through videos. The idea here is to kind of go back to those previous papers, or especially the last year paper, and solve more and more questions from that, right? So that's what we are going to do today. We have about 20-25 questions chosen from all those sets that were asked last year, and we'll be solving those questions in the session today, right? Already chosen. We just have to kind of quickly run through this. But before we get into that, let me hear from all of you about how your preparation is and how confident you are about cracking this Tier 1 examination, right? We have just about a month left. So let's see. And for the benefit of those who have recently joined our program, let me mention that there is this chat box available right beside your video screen, which you can use to interact with us during these live sessions, right? So if you have any queries or any questions pertaining to what is being discussed here, please feel free to post it there and I'll be more than happy to answer that. Of course, make sure that you don't post subject questions directly into the chat, right? Those have to come only through the discussion forum. So if there's any question that you're unable to solve, post it in the discussion forum and we'll take it up from there. Well, this reminds me of one more point, which I'll update you in a couple of minutes from now. Let me just look at the chat now. So who all have joined the chat? I see a lot of you have started engaging here, right? Shitish, Raji, Rudraditya Mohanty, Sai Santosh, Apurva Rawat. Apurva Rawat has got something to say. I am reading Hindustan Times daily. Is it helpful, as many people stress for reading the Hindu? Well, see, Apurva, I think the idea is that you read, I mean, they usually say that you should read 2 newspapers, not one every day, right? One has to be a general newspaper like the Hindustan Times, and the other one has to be a business newspaper like, let's say, the Economic Times. Now, yes, you're right when you say that a lot of people, advise to go through the Hindu because that is considered to be the best of these papers, but it's your choice. I mean, if it is about current affairs, then Hindustan Times it also do, right? So you just take a call. It is not about the Hindu or the Hindustan Times or the Times of India. It is about what you read in these newspapers, right? So you must have, you must gain enough idea about what kind of questions are being asked, and you should kind of read only those articles which are relevant, right? Don't read unnecessary stuff or stuff which cannot be asked in your exams. Again, having said that, let me also repeat myself by saying that anything can be asked, but then you know what is more important. So try and cover important sections of the newspaper, whatever be the newspaper there, right? Yasaswini has mentioned that GK is the most uncertain section, I suppose. Well, yes, like I said, anything can be asked, right? There's no syllabus. While they say history, geography, polity, but what in history? History is not a book, right? History is like huge. It's a notion of syllabus. So anything can be asked. You got to be just, continue reading as much as you can. Neeraj Jha is also there in the session. He says quant is my weakest section of all the sections here and it's all up to you. Well, Neeraj, I think there's nothing that I can do about your weakness in quantitative aptitude. I can only give you the right ways of solving questions. All you have to do is practice as much as you can, right? Remember that these exams, be it a bank exam or an SSC exam, is all about practice. It's a game of practice. The more you practice, the easier it gets. So go through the videos, learn the techniques discussed there, attend these live sessions and keep practicing as much as you can, right? So it's up to you and not up to me. Kshitiz has asked me a question, right? Questions from which section will come mostly this time? Which sections can be easily scored? Well, let me answer your first question there, right? Questions from which section will mostly come this time? I don't know. I wish I could answer that, but I am being very honest. I don't know from which sections they're going to ask you more questions, right? I think the most predictable thing about these exams is unpredictable, right? You don't know what's going to happen. And especially when it comes to the SSC CGL exam, I mean, even if you look at the any one of the sets of the previous years, you'll find that they try and cover almost all the different topics through the questions that they ask, right? You know that the pattern has got 25 questions, right? In quantitative aptitude, we'll have 25 questions. Each question carries 2 marks, right? Now, almost about 20 to 22 topics will be covered through these 25 questions, right? They'll ask you questions from percentages, time and work, time and distance, profit and loss, simple and compound interest, ages, ratio and proportions, average, partnership, allegations and mixtures, right? Mensuration, then pure mathematics topics like geometry, trigonometry, algebra, surds and indices, circles, triangles, and whatnot. So they try and cover, variety of topics in that one section alone. So it's hard to say what is going to be the focus. And even otherwise, I think it's difficult to tell you about what sections will be focused upon, right? So I'm very honest, I don't know about it. Anything else? Yeah, many others have joined. I think let me just read out a few names here. Vishnu Priya Sharma, Praveen Piyush, Anil Saini, Prabhakar Paul, John Master. Then we have Venkatesh, Naman Agarwal, Raji, Praveen, Vimal Kesavan, Ashwatha, Pallavi, Minakshi, and we have Kritika Datta, Ankita Sharma, Sachindra, and Nikunj Agarwal. We have Ganeshwara Rao and many others there, right? Suchit, Arvind and others. Yeah, so shall we get started now? Anything else that you'd like to ask before we get into the session? Anuba has asked a question: how many questions come from geometry and trigonometry in SSC CGL Quant? Well, again, hard to predict. You never know what will happen, but yes, geometry, trigonometry and algebra constitute an important part of your quantitative aptitude section in SSC CGL exam, right? So I think about 10 to 12 questions out of 25 are only from these areas. And that reminds me of something that I wanted to share with all of you. I am not sure if you have checked your emails already. We have sent out an email today with the plan that we have, the live sessions plan that we have for your SSC CGL exam. It has also been updated in your events calendar. So when you log into your Talent Sprint account, on the top right, you find some quick links, right? And one of those links is an events calendar. So you can just check the calendar there. It has been updated with all the sessions that we are planning for your SSC CGL exam. And like I mentioned earlier in my live sessions, we have planned for some special live sessions only for these 3 or 4 topics, which carries a good weightage in SSC CGL exam. And many students find these topics to be difficult and not very scoring. So we have planned for 4 sessions. Each of these sessions will happen on Fridays at 6 p.m. right? So starting from this week, for the next 4 weeks before your CGL Tier 1 exam, we'll have 4 sessions. Especially for topics like trigonometry, geometry, algebra, surds and indices, heights and distances, etc. Right? These are sessions exclusive for SSC CGL aspirants, and it will be done on Fridays, right? We have our sessions usually on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, which should continue as it is. These extra sessions would be done on Fridays, where we'll discuss only questions from those topics. And since we have planned for special sessions on those topics, we will not be choosing any of those questions in our sessions today or in these regular sessions. So I hope all of you have got the point, right? What we discuss today will be more from arithmetic aptitude, numerical aptitude and data interpretation, etc. right? Those pure mathematics topics will be covered through those special live sessions. So please go check the calendar and keep yourselves available for those sessions as well. We have Surya Vanshi here, who says many SSC aspirants have told me that 60% questions are repeated from previous year's papers. Is that true or a myth? Well, Surya Vanshi, I would tell you that even if it is a truth, don't believe it, because you never know what's going to happen. That's what I told you, right? The most predictable thing about these exams is unpredictable, right? If they have been following the previous year's papers all these years, maybe this year they'll change it. You never know, right? Of course, there is some pattern that we have seen, but not that 60% of the questions repeat. That doesn't happen, right? Questions do change, values definitely change. And yeah, question types largely remains the same. I mean, see, if you look at a topic like profit and loss, there are limited question types that can be asked, right? 6, 7, 8 types of questions. They have to choose one of those types. So it's obvious that the questions will repeat, but not that 60% questions repeat. And of course, not that it will repeat this year again. You never know. We also have Malbika Mohanty. Okay, yeah, Malbika Mohanty here. Sai Krishna. How many questions would come from advanced maths? I don't know. John Master has asked me a question. I'm just trying to address these general questions before we move into the discussion, the real discussion about quantitative aptitude. So John's question here is quant easy in SSC compared to bank exams? Well, I think if you look at the history, quantitative aptitude of SSC has usually been easier compared to that in bank exams. Of course, I am not including those additional topics that we have in SSC. I'm looking at only those topics which are common in both SSC and bank exams. So if you look at these common topics, yeah, I think it has been always easier in SSC exams compared to what is asked in bank exams here. But again, don't make it a rule. You never know. Sai Kiran says, for SSC general awareness, I'm preparing only from past 15 papers. Can we expect repetitive questions from previous papers? Approximately how much past papers we need to cover to answer 15 plus questions in general awareness? Well, it's good if you are covering last 15 papers for general awareness, but remember that a good portion of these papers will have questions on current affairs, which are no more relevant. See, current affairs questions that were asked last year will not be current anymore, right? Those questions are old now, obsolete now. So I'm not sure if it will really help, but yeah, in a ocean of syllabus, anything that you do is gonna only add to your confidence, right? It will at least make you feel confident that yes, I've prepared something, right? And that's also very important. Whether you are really prepared or not, you should be confident that yes, I've prepared, really fully prepared or not, right? See, I'll be very honest. Nobody can prepare for. I have already mentioned that we cannot teach general awareness, and we should also understand that you cannot be fully prepared for general awareness. I mean, that can never happen. That's impossible, right? Again, don't tell me that nothing is impossible and all that stuff. I know preparing for general awareness is difficult. I mean, you cannot be fully ready for it. So do as much as you can. And when that's the strategy, I think covering 15 years papers will definitely add value. But yeah, don't be content that if you do 15 years papers, you are ready to answer 15 questions. I am not sure about that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Vidya says, as the time duration of prelims has been reduced this time, will this have any impact on cutoffs and level of exam? Well, cutoff again, Vidya, let's not worry about it because you cannot really influence it, right? That's not in your hands. That will get decided only after the exam is over. So forget about the cutoff scores there. Whether it will have an impact or not depends not only on the paper but also how we perform in the exam. So that's not a valid question in my view. Level of exam, you never know. Just because they have reduced the time limit does not mean that they are going to make the questions easier. Questions have always been easy. I mean, if you look at the questions that we solved today, these can be answered. Most of these questions can be answered without putting pen on paper. Yeah, so we should only expect that the level goes up. Whether they increase or reduce that, I mean, increase or decrease the time, level should just go up, or be prepared for at least that. Yeah. Chalo, I think we should start now. Yeah, many have mentioned that you have seen the email. Nikunj Agarwal has mentioned that he has seen the email. Neeraj has also mentioned that he has got it. Nilab here says, I get headache calculating mentally. That's a problem. So if you're getting a headache calculating mentally, then what do we do? Maybe you're like trying to use it too much and so you're getting a headache. So try to cut it down for 2-3 days. I mean, just see if not doing mental calculations is helping you not get that headache. Then we can jump to a conclusion, right? I mean, you should practice. I think mental calculations is the key. Quantitative aptitude, let me tell you, is actually a very scoring subject. The only reason why most of us fail to score more is because we do calculations on paper, especially in an exam like SSC CGL where there are like 25 questions to be answered and we just have about 15 minutes of average time for those 25 questions. It is very important that you cut down the number of steps that you put on paper. You cut down on doing calculations on paper, right? So find a solution to your headache, right? Not doing calculations mentally is not going to help. Yeah. Okay, Genome here has posted the schedule of those special live sessions. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we have many others here. Nilesh Chaudhary, Nirmal Indian, Shitish, Isha, Sneka, Vishnu, Swarupa, and Abhinav Paul, Kiran Usha, Deepak. All right, so I think let's get started now. Okay, so enough of general discussion. We'll look at these general queries again as we move forward. Let me let me get started with this topic today. So quantitative aptitude is the session. You know that there are 25 questions that will be asked in this section in your exam, and each question carries a weightage of 2 marks. So overall you are going to be tested for 50 marks. 25 questions, 50 marks. If you see, we have 60 minutes overall, composite time of 60 minutes for answering 100 questions, and 100 questions are distributed across 4 sections. So if you take the average time, we have 15 minutes per section, 15 minutes for quantitative aptitude. But then 15 minutes is not going to be enough to attempt all the 25 questions, right? This is one section where you need to allocate a little bit of little extra time, because sections like general awareness or English language or general intelligence and reasoning for that matter will not take 15 minutes. It will take lesser than that. So that time that we save in those 3 sections can be allocated towards quantitative aptitude. So I would say not more than 18 to 20 minutes, right? About 18 to 20 minutes, let's say, we have for attempting 25 questions. Attempting 25 questions. I'm not saying you have to solve 25 questions. You solve only 18 of these 25 questions, absolutely fine. You solve only 15 out of 25 questions, no problems, right? You solve only 12 out of these 25 questions, no worries. But make sure that you attempt all the 25 questions. By attempt, I mean you read the question and then take a decision whether you want to solve it or you want to skip it, right? However, I think we should make sure that we solve as many questions as possible, right? And given the type of questions that have been asked so far, it looks like we'll be able to solve 20 questions easily without any challenge there. So let's get started. I have chosen some 20-25 questions from previous year's papers. In fact, last year's papers only. We had multiple sets there. And all these questions, like I've mentioned, are from non-geometry, non-trigonometry, non-algebra topics, right? Those will be covered in the specialized sessions that we have scheduled as a part of this refresher. Okay, so let's get started. I'll share my screen now, present the questions to you one after the other, give you some time to solve it, and then discuss the solution. All I want you to make sure is that you don't spend too much time on answering this question, right? It's not about getting the right answer. It's about getting the right answer as quickly as possible, right? So try to cut down the number of steps that you put on paper, do the calculations mentally, and try and get a neat solution where you kind of just put like maybe 1 or 2 steps maximum and get the answer, right? Unless it is really required. So let me start it now. I'll just share the screen, and here we go. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Looks like I have some challenge here. I know a lot of you are getting impatient because it's already 6:30, but don't worry. We'll cover all the 20-25 questions that we have before we close the session. The trouble that I have is I'm not able to share the screen. Why is it so? Okay, just give me a few seconds. Let me take some support from my team here. Allow us a couple of minutes. Muted. All right, I'm back. So let me share the screen now. I think there was some challenge that I had in sharing the presentation. So we are ready now. Let me quickly share it and get you started solving these questions. Here we go. The first question on your screens now. Now this one, profit and loss. It says if percentage of profit made when an article is sold for rupees 78 is twice as when it is sold for rupees 69, the cost price of the article is. So you have to find out the cost price of the article. Now, like I said, the idea here is not to get the right answer, but to get the right answer as quickly as possible without having to put too many steps on paper. Okay, so in my view, it shouldn't take more than 15 seconds to close this question. But anyway, I'll give you a minute's time, which starts now. Okay, good to see that a lot of answers have started coming in already. We have Nikunj Agarwal, Manas Ranjan, Balaji, Rishika Menon, Kisan, Prabhakar, Vaishnavi, Roshni, Neeta, Neeraj, Venkat, Anubha, Preeti Kumari, Amit Kumar, Nilesh Chaudhary, Sumit, John, Siddharth, Naman, Hina, and many others there who have got the answer as 60, which is option 4 here. So glad to see that all of you have been able to solve this really quick. Before we get into the discussion, let me find out how many of you have not been able to solve this. So all those who have not been able to solve, quickly respond in the chat. I would like to understand what percentage of students have failed to get the answer. You can stop solving it now because time is already up. You can see that a whole lot of your friends have been able to crack it already. So just tell me if you have got stuck. How many of you have not been able to solve this? How many of you have not been able to solve this? Looks like everybody has got the answer, huh? Good. Vimal, Anil Saini, Hiranmoy are few of those who have got the answer just now. And I think, 2-3 of you have mentioned that you have got no clue about it, right? Himani Sharma has not been able to solve. Venkatesh has not been able to solve. Ajay has not been able to solve. Sachindra, Rajshekhar Reddy, Jeevan, Genome. And then we have Rahul, Raji. Yeah, looks like many of you have not been able to solve this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's look at the solution now. So here we go. See what the question says. It says, if percentage of profit made when an article is sold for rupees 78 is twice as when it is sold for rupees 69, the cost price of the article is. So basically we have to find out the cost price of an article, right? What is the condition given to us? That the percentage of profit made when this article was sold for rupees 78 is twice when compared to the selling price of 69. So there are two situations here. One is when the article was sold for rupees 69. The other, when the article was sold for rupees 78. He says the profit made here when it was sold for 78 is 2 times of the profit made when the article was sold for 69. Which means if the profit made here is P, the profit made in this case will be 2P. Well, he's actually talking about percentage of profit. But the idea is if the percentage of profit is twice, then the absolute profit will also be twice. Yes or no? He says percentage of profit is twice, which means the actual profit is also twice, right? So if the profit made in this case is P, the profit made in this case would be 2P. Remember that these are selling prices. Selling price is equal to 69 in one case and the selling price is equal to 78 in the other case. Now, I don't know what method you guys have followed, but it's very easy, and without having to put pen on paper, you can just solve this in about 8 to 10 seconds maximum. All you need to understand is how would you break up 69 and 78. Right? Look at this. See, since 69 is the selling price, can I say it is cost price plus profit? Yes. 78 is also the selling price, so I can say it is cost price plus profit, but this time the profit is 2P. Or it can be further expanded as C plus P plus P. You understand? So 69 rupees is cost price plus profit. 78 rupees is the same cost price plus profit plus one more profit, same amount of profit, because here the profit is 2p, right? I'm taking 2p as p plus p. Now we already know that c plus p is 69. Yes or no? So can I say 78 is equal to 69 plus p? 78 can be taken as 69 plus p. 69 plus p or 69 plus 9. 78 can be taken as 69 plus 9 because c plus p is 69 according to the first case. Now if you break it up in this fashion, 78 equals to 69 plus 9, it comes out very clearly that the profit made is 9 rupees. The profit is 9 rupees and you're done. If profit is 9 and c plus p is 69, c should be 60. You getting it? No need to put pen on paper in my view. I mean, I am putting all these steps here so that I can explain to you, but otherwise it's very simple. 78 has been split as 69 plus 9, which gives us that profit is 9 rupees. I'll split 69 as 60 plus 9. 69 here is 60 plus 9. 60 is the cost price, 9 is the profit. Because see, profit will remain the same. Here P is 9, here also P will be 9. But here there are 2 P's. You're getting it? So basically this 69 rupees is like 60 rupees plus 9 rupees. That 78 rupees is 60 rupees plus 9 rupees plus another 9 rupees. So you can see that the profit here is 9, the profit here is 18, twice. The profit when it was sold for 78 is twice the profit when it was sold for 69. And in both the cases, we got 60 rupees as common, which is the cost price. So can we conclude that the cost price is 60 rupees? Yes. Please do not go by the length of the explanation or the number of steps that we have put on paper. All this is not needed in my view, right? It's very easy. You just have to look at the values. Understand it's all about difference. The difference between 78 and 69 is 9 rupees. It's actually that, right? Difference between 78 rupees and 69 rupees is 9 rupees, which means when I'm selling the product for 78 rupees, I'm getting 9 rupees extra. Yes or no? 78 difference 69. This is another way of looking at it. 78 minus 69 is 9 rupees. So when I sell the product for 78 rupees, I'm making 9 rupees of extra profit. But that 9 rupees of extra profit is equivalent to my original profit, because here the profit is becoming twice, right? It is like 2p. 2p is like p plus p. So the extra profit that I've made in the second case is actually p, which is 9 rupees. So original profit is 9 rupees. In this 69 rupees, 9 rupees is profit. So obviously remaining 60 rupees is the cost price. So 60 rupees is the answer. And that completes the solution. So I'm glad that all of you have got the right answer, 60 rupees, which is option 4. But tell me how many of you have followed this method. You can do it in multiple ways. There are different ways of doing it, right? You can go by options, right? You can use formulae and things like that. But the simple understanding here is I'm making 9 rupees extra profit when I'm selling it for 78 rupees. And that 9 rupees of extra profit is like the original profit, because the profit made in the second case was twice. So I can say that profit is actually 9 rupees. So out of 69, if 9 rupees is profit, 60 rupees is the cost price. How much time does it take? Hardly any time. I mean, even 8 seconds is too much, I would say. By the time you finish reading the question, half of the solution is done, right? So tell me if you have followed the SMART method or some regular method, because it's not the answer that matters. It's how quickly do you get the answer is what matters, right? So Vimal Kesavan has already confirmed that he's followed a long method. I did the long method. See, whether you have followed or not is one question, and the second is whether you have used this method or not, right? I was happy that all of you have got 60, but how many of you have got 60 in a smart way, right? Murli has mentioned that he has used formula. Nirmal Indian has got a question. He says, but it is the percentage profit, no, that gets double. So how can you say profit is double? See, profit will get double means percentage profit will get double, or the percentage profit has doubled means the profit has doubled. Only then the percentage profit can double, right? Rishika Menon has gone by options. Hina Modi has gone by options. So if you go by options, then you will definitely take more time when compared to this method. Why am I saying so? Because the correct answer is option 4. See, unless you say my lucky number is 4 and I'll try option 4 first, otherwise you'll have to just go by first option, then second option, then third option, then fourth option. So verifying by options is going to take a little longer when compared to doing it directly, right? Yeah, Vaishnavi has used a formula. Vaishnavi says it is 78 minus C equals to 2 times of 16 minus C, which is correct. That's what we are trying to do, but without using that equation there. Okay? Got it? Yeah, Vinod has also used the same method, 78 minus C. So the profit is 78 rupees minus cost price. In the other case, the profit is 69 rupees minus cost price. So 78 minus cost price is twice of 69 rupees minus cost price. That equation has to be balanced. It will give you the cost price directly. But yeah, your choice. I think we have discussed 2-3 different methods already. You use the one which is most convenient to you. Let me go to the next question now. So here's the next question. This was posted by okay, this is not posted, this is actually a previous year question again. So it says the average, now this is from average, right? Look at this. The average of 12 numbers is 9. If each number is multiplied by 2 and added to 3, the average of the new set of numbers is. Let me repeat the question. It says the average of 12 numbers is 9. So there are 12 numbers, their average value is 9. If each number is multiplied by 2 and added to 3, the average of the new set of numbers, right? What is the average of the new set of numbers? Now these are like classical laws of average, right? You know that if each number is multiplied by x, average also gets multiplied by x. If each number is added by x or added to x, the average also gets added to x. If each number is reduced by x, average also gets reduced by x. If each number is divided by x, average value also gets divided by x. That is it. So here he has given us the current average. Average for 12 numbers is 9. Each number is multiplied by 2. So obviously the average also will get multiplied by 2. So average will become 9 into 2, which is 18. And then each number is added to 3, which means average also will get added to 3. So the new average will be what? 18 plus 3. You're able to follow? 18 plus 3, which is 21. And that's your answer. It should not take more than 5 seconds. If you spend more than 5 seconds in answering this question, then you're not fit for this exam. I repeat, if you spend more than 5 seconds in getting the answer to this question, you're not fit for the exam. All you have to do is this: 9 into 2 plus 3. 9 into 2 plus 3. Each number multiplied by 2, so average also gets multiplied by 2. Each number added to 3, so average also gets added to 3. So 9 into 2 plus 3, 18 plus 3, 21 is the answer. Next question. Now this one looks to be from time and work. See what it says. Ram and Hari can cut 12 kgs nuts in 2 days. After 5 days, Hari left the work. Ram took 8 more days to cut the rest of the nuts. If total of 58 kgs of nuts were cut, the time taken by Hari to cut 10 kg of nuts. So I think all about writing those equations of work, right? Work equals to number of men into number of days, right? So write those equations, frame those equations, and then solve the equations to get the required answer. I'll give you a minute to try this. Your time starts now. Of course, it will not take 1 minute, but yeah, you have 1 minute here. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. Option 4 is, okay, sorry, 4 is what I get to see as a response from most of you, right? But then, yeah, there are others who have got 3 days also. So see, Neeraj Jha has got 2 days. Amit Verma has got option 3, which is 3 days. Amit Kumar has got 4 days. Sachin Singh has got 3 days. Neeta has got 4 days. And then Balaji, Himani Sharma, Kiran Usha, all of them have got 4 days. Nitin, Neeraj, Neeta. Yeah. So there's some confusion here, right? While most of you have got 4 days as the answer, which is option 4, there are a couple of you who have got 3 days, and then there's someone who's got 2 days as well. So I'll wait for a few more seconds, maybe 15 more seconds before we take this up. Sai Krishna has mentioned that frankly I'm taking a lot of time. So Sai Krishna, I think the whole idea of doing this refresher sessions is to, see to it that you get the best of the methods for solving the questions that were asked last year. Because in my view, the level of questions largely would remain the same. Yeah. So you should not say that why are we discussing such easy questions. The idea is to discuss the previous year papers and make you feel confident before you go for the exam. But discuss the solutions in the best possible way. So most of you have got 4 days, right? Anil, Vijay, Venkatesh, but then Ajit and Ashwata have got 3 days. So there's definitely some confusion here between option 3 and option 4. Manas Ranjan has got 2 days, Anuba has got 4 days, Ashwata has got 3 days, and Atish has got 4 days. So let's take it up now. So here's the question. It says Ram and Hari can cut 12 kgs of nuts in 2 days. Ram and Hari can cut 12 kgs of nuts in 2 days. After 5 days, Hari left the work. Ram took 8 more days to cut the rest of the nuts. If total 58 kgs of nuts were cut, the time taken by Hari to cut 10 kg of nuts is. So basically a question on time and work where he's talking about 2 persons, Ram and Hari, who have got a capacity to cut 12 kgs of nuts in 2 days. Right? They can cut 12 kgs in 2 days. That's their capacity. Now see what has actually happened. After 5 days, which means they worked for 5 days. After 5 days, Hari left the work. So clearly for the first 5 days, both Ram and Hari were working. And you know at what rate they work, right? They can do 12 kgs of work in 2 days. So we have to figure out how much of work has been done in 5 days. Which is again like mental calculation, right? In 2 days, if they can do 12 kgs, in 5 days, they'll do 30 kgs. See, 2 into 2.5. 2 days into 2.5 will give you 5 days. The time has increased by 2.5 times. Time has become 2.5 times. 2 has become 5, right? Multiplied by 2.5. If the time has become 2.5 times, the work done will also become 2.5 times. So 12 into 2.5. So this is what I refer to when I say you have to do mental calculations, right? By the time you finish reading this statement, after 5 days, Hari left the work, you should realize that 30 kgs of nuts have been cut. You should be able to do that calculation, right? If you put pen on paper for this, then you are in a difficult situation. Anyway, after 5 days, Hari left the work. So for the first 5 days, both of them were working. Then Ram took 8 more days to cut the rest of the nuts. Ram has taken 8 more days. After 5 days, Ram has taken 8 more days to cut the rest of the nuts. Now, what is this quantity of rest of the nuts is not known to us. We are not sure of that. But then look at the next statement. It says if total of 58 kgs of nuts were cut. Total how many nuts? What kgs of nuts? 58 kgs of nuts were cut. The time taken by Hari to cut 10 kg of nuts. The time taken by Hari to cut 10 kg of nuts. This is what has to be calculated. Now try and understand. I mean, I'll write that step on paper, but I would still say that you should do it mentally. I am writing it here so that you can follow it easily. But when you do it in the exam, try to avoid that putting on paper. So in 2 days, they can do 12 kgs. So how much will they do in 5 days is the question. What quantity can be done in 5 days? Cross multiplication, because these are directly proportional, right? The work done is directly proportional to the number of days, right? So you can directly cross multiply. So 12 into 5, 60 by 2, 30, right? So this will come out to be 30 kgs. Right, 30 kgs. So we know that they can do 30 kgs in this 5 days. Now look at this. He has clearly mentioned that 58 kgs was done as a total work. Total of 58 kgs was done. Out of this 58, in the first 5 days, 30 kgs was done. And then remaining is how much? 28. Right? Out of 58, 30 was done in the first 5 days. This 28 kgs was done in the next 8 days. Now understand, here both Ram and Hari were involved. Ram and Hari worked for 5 days to cut 30 kgs. Here only Ram has worked for 8 days to cut 28 kgs because Hari left the work. Right? Here both Ram and Hari were working. In this leg only Hari was working. The point is, so in this leg only Ram was working. Hari left the work. So we got to know that Ram could do 28 kgs in 8 days. Ram can do 28 kgs in 8 days. So find out the capacity of Ram from this. What is the capacity of Ram from this? See, in 8 days, if you can do 28 kgs, how much can you do in 1 day? What do you mean by capacity? Capacity is nothing but the amount of work that can be done in 1 day. So if we can do 28 kgs in 8 days, how much will you do in 1 day? 3.5 kgs. 28 by 8, simple. 28 by 8. So that's like 3.5. So we know that Ram's capacity is 3.5 per day. 3.5 kgs per day. You're able to follow? Again, if Ram can do 3.5 per day, how much will Ram do in 5 days? Because in the first leg, we know that out of 30 kgs, some part was done by Ram, the remaining was done by Hari. So how much will Ram do? Ram will do 3.5 per day is his capacity. 3.5 into 5 days. He worked for 5 days. 3.5 into 5. How much is 3.5 into 5? 17.5. Now understand, out of 30 kgs, if 17.5 was done by Ram, how much was done by Hari? 30 minus 17.5. These are all mental calculations. Because I am writing the steps, it looks to be lengthy. All these calculations can be done mentally. You're able to follow. It's obvious that if Ram has done 17.5, balance 12.5 was done by Hari. Now this 12.5 was done by Hari in how many days? In 5 days. By Hari in 5 days. So how much can Hari do per day? Again, I am writing the step as 12.5 by 5, but mentally you know that Hari can do 2.5 per day. Or you can do it this way also. Now the next step is this. Hari, you know that Hari can do in 5 days, he can do 12.5. So in 4 days, how much will you do? Because that's the question, right? The question is about Hari's capacity. Hari will cut 10 kgs in how many days? Sorry, I think I misread the question, right? Hari can do 10 kgs in how many days? Right? Hari can do 12.5 kgs in 5 days. So Hari will do 10 kgs in how many days? Cross multiply. Proportional, right? I mean, number of days and amount of work done is proportional. So cross multiply to get the answer. If Hari can do 12.5 in 5 days, how much time will he take for 10 kgs of work? It's very, very easy to calculate. Again, you don't have to write this step on paper, right? 12.5 in 5 days means what? 2.5 in 1 day. So 2.5 in 1 day, 10 kgs will take 4 days. Or cross multiply. If you're not very comfortable, cross multiply. 10 into 5 by 12.5. So that's like 50 by 12.5, which comes out to be 4 days. And that's your final answer. Option 4. 4 days is the final answer. It's a sitter. It's a simple question, let me tell you. Do not go by the length of the explanations, right? Let me highlight what all can be avoided here. Like for example, you don't have to write this step on paper. This section can be avoided. 2 days they do 12 kgs. In 5 days they'll do 30 kgs. It's a mental calculation. Again, you don't have to draw this chart and do all this drama in the exam. You'll not be given extra marks for this. So all that is being highlighted in yellow is not needed. We very well know that if they can do 30 kgs in 5 days, I mean if they can do 30 kgs in 5 days, remaining 28 kgs will be done in the 8 days by Ram. Then again, if Ram can do 28 kgs in 8 days, mental calculation that he will do 3.5 kgs per day, which means in 5 days he will do 17.5, which means Hari will do remaining balance of the work, which is 12.5. In how many days? In 5 days. So all this is mental calculation. If 12.5 in 5 days, obviously 2.5 in 1 day. So for 10 kgs, he will take 4 days. In my view, there is nothing that has to be put on paper here. So which makes it very clear that the number of steps that we have written here are all, I mean, it's all a waste of time. Now don't tell me that why did you write it? If it is really not needed, but why did you put it on paper? I have to write it because I'm explaining it to you. I'm not solving it for myself. I'm trying to explain it to you. Right? So I think the point that I'm trying to make is, the only step that you have to write on paper is something which is not highlighted here, something which is not in yellow. Now find out all that is not in yellow. Nothing is in plain background here, right? Of course, other than these 2 arrows, everything is in yellow. So you can avoid everything except these 2 arrows. Let me highlight this also. Yeah. And this also. So what is that we have to put on paper? Nothing. Mark the answer as 4 days in about 15 to 20 seconds of mental calculation, or 30 seconds maximum. All right. So option 4 days is the correct answer. I could go to the next question directly, but I want to understand why is that many of you have got confused in the solution here and got 3 days as the answer. I could see that at least 7-8 of you have marked 3 days as the answer. So why did that happen? And there are different ways of doing it. I mean, like for the last step, when we have said if Hari can do 12.5 kgs in 5 days, how much will he do in how many days will take in for 10 kg? You can do it the other way also. In the step where we have found that Ram can do 3.5 kgs in 1 day, how much will he do in 2 days? 7 kgs. So out of those 12 kgs that they can do in 2 days, 7 kgs was done by Ram, which means 5 kgs was done by Hari. Hari could do 5 kgs in 2 days. So for him to do 10 kgs, he will take 4 days. So whether you do it this way or the other way, answer is 4 days, and it takes the same amount of time in my view. Right? So what is the confusion? Are you all clear with this? Can we go to the next question? Approximately 3 days. Vikas Lamba has got approximately 3 days. No, it's exactly 4 days. Yeah, I think many of you are hinting towards using that first statement, 12 kgs in 2 days. You can use that also, 12 kgs in 2 days. So if Ram can do 3.5 kgs in 1 day, he will do 7 kgs in 2 days, which means Hari will do 5 kgs in 2 days, the balance. If Hari will do 5 kgs in 2 days, for him to do 10 kgs, it will take 4 days. The same thing, right? Can we go to the next one now? Are you all clear with the solution? Yeah, all right. So let me share the screen and present the next question to you all. Here we go. Try this. This one is from time and distance. Okay. It says it takes 8 hours for a 600 kilometer journey if 120 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. It takes 20 minutes more if 200 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. The ratio of speed of the train to that of the car is. The ratio of speed of the train to that of the car is. So interesting one. I'll give you 1 minute for this one and your time starts now. Amit Kumar has got the answer as option 2, 3:4. Amit, while we wait for others to respond, why don't you tell the method that you have followed? Because it's not just the answer, but also the method that matters. Amit Kumar is the only one who's got the answer so far. Option 2, 3:4 is what he says. Waiting for others to respond. Got it? Balaji has got 3:5, option 1. Nitin has got option 2, which is 3:4. Ajay has got option 1, 3:5. So confusion again, huh? I thought your answers would match, but doesn't look like. Neeraj has already confirmed that he has got no clue. He is not able to solve it. Atish has got option 2, 3:4. Arvind has also got option 2. And Manas Ranjan here has got option 3, 4:3. So I think not many responses, first of all. And among those who have responded, I think there is no consensus. Most of you have got 3:4, but there are few who say 3:5, and there is one guy who's got 4:3. And then this calls for some extra time. I'll give you maybe a few more seconds because I want you to get the answer, right? You to get the answer yourself. Sai Krishna has confirmed that he is not able to solve. Yashasni has got 4:3. Ashwata has also confessed that he is confused. Vikas Lamba not able to solve. Sachin Singh says no clue how to approach. Alright, so let me ask a simple question to all of you now. How many of you have failed to get the answer? Just mention failed. Just mention failed in the chat. How many of you have failed to get the answer? I know failed sounds like too negative, but how does it matter? How many of you have failed to get the answer? Just mention failed in the chat or stuck or whatever. I want to see who all have not been able to solve. And then I'll ask you another question. Yeah, Monica is confused. Anu says not able to solve. Revati has got 3:4. Rishika has got 4:3. Divya says failed. Ajit has got 4:3. Vidya failed. Suryavanshi, Anil, Sarika, Shitish, Madhuri, Manish, Prabhakar, Apurva, Preetam, Neeraj, Prashanti, Manoja, Vaishnavi, Pooja, Sai Krishna, Vikas, Vinod, Kisan. Failed, huh? These guys have all failed. And I'm actually glad that you are ready to accept that you failed. So that goes to show that you are ready to learn something, right? Ahalya Mitra has failed. Raji is struck. Pallavi has got 4:3. Ajay says it's a lengthy calculation. Yeah. Chalo. So you have seen the question already. Let me come to the video for a few seconds. I mean, interesting one, right? So my first question to all of you was, how many of you have failed? I mean, the very first understanding that I have is, among those who have responded, there is no, there's no consensus, right? Your answers are not matching. And the two common answers that have got us 3:4 and 4:3. Some of you have also got 3:5, right? Nobody has got 4:5. At least you're all sure that 4:5 is not the answer, right? But then at least 90% of you have failed. You've stuck. So which means this is a complex one. This is something that we got to discuss. But before I go and explain you the solution, let me ask you a question. If you were asked to make a guess, what will you mark? Now this may sound crazy, right? Why will we guess? If you don't know the solution, why would we guess? But this will help me understand how many of you can at least do intelligent guessing, right? Sometimes you may have to, right? I mean, you have to take chances. So if you are supposed or if you are forced to mark an answer to this question, whether you solve it or not, mark an answer. Which option will you mark? So indirectly what I'm trying to ask is, which options will you not mark? You know, what will you eliminate? What will you eliminate? Anubha says, I'm getting 1996 by 1501 as the ratio and some step is left. Kiran says, I would mark option 1. Vinod says 1 or 2. Yeah. And yeah, many of you have responded 4:3 or 3:4 or 3:5. So I think, and you're all responding now. I'm assuming that you're responding to my question, which was, what will be your guess? Divya says, I have eliminated option 2, 3 and 4. Now I don't know how were you able to eliminate 2, 3 and 4, but yeah, you could eliminate 2, 3 and 4. Neeraj says, I would mark between 2 and 3. Between 3:4 and 4:3. Between 3:4 and 4:3. Yeah. Okay, so I've got enough idea now. Let me explain the solution to you all. So here we go. So the question says, it takes 8 hours for a 600 kilometer journey. If 120 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. So it takes 8 hours for a 600 kilometer journey if 120 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. It takes 20 minutes more if 200 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. the ratio of speed of the train to that of the car is, right? So we have to find out the ratio of speed of the train to that of the car, right? So an interesting question, right? Read it again. It says it takes 8 hours for a 600 kilometer journey if you cover 120 kilometers by train and the rest. What is the rest? 600 minus 120, 480. 480 kilometers by car. See, these calculations you must do as you read the question. You understand? Out of 600 kilometers, 120 is covered by train. So what is the rest? 600 minus 120, which is 480. So if you cover 120 by train and 480 by car, it takes 8 hours. It takes 8 hours, right? Then what does it say in the next step? It takes 20 minutes more, extra 20 minutes. 20 minutes more means what? The total time will be 8 hours and 20 minutes, right? Plus 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes more if 200 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. Now what do you mean by rest here? The rest here is 400. See, total distance remains the same, 600 kilometers. So out of 600, 200 is done by train and the rest, which is 400, is done by car. Based on this data, he's asking us to find out the ratio of speed of the train to that of the car. Now, before we look at the solution, how do we eliminate the wrong answers? And if you are lucky, maybe you will be able to eliminate 3 options out of the given 4 without putting pen on paper. So let's see how can we eliminate the wrong answers here. One simple understanding that we all must build here is which vehicle's speed will be more. I mean, will the speed of the train be higher than the speed of the car, or the speed of car be higher than that of the train? That will help you eliminate some of the answer options. You're able to follow. Now, how do we decide that? How do we decide which is greater? Is T greater than C or C greater than T? This is the question that you have to ask yourself, right? Is T greater than C or C greater than T? How do we check that? Simple. Understand, 120 by train and 480 by car. Look at this. Train and car. These are the 2 bodies, right? 120 by train and 480 by car. How much time did it take? The time required was 8 hours. Then in the next case, 200 by train and 400 by car. Time required is how much? 8 hours and 20 minutes. Now try and compare these 2 cases, right? Try and compare these 2 cases. What happens? This is case 1. This is case 2, right? Case 1 and case 2. In case 1, you covered 120 by train, 480 by car. It took 8 hours. In case 2, you covered 200 by train and 400 by car. Remember, the total is 600 in both the cases. 120 plus 480 is 600. 200 plus 400 is also 600. So total distance remains the same. But then when I cover more distance by train, the time required is more. The time required is more. You understand? 120 becomes 200, 480 becomes 4. And it is obvious that when you cover more distance by train, you will cover less distance by car. Here 80 has increased. So here 80 will decrease. 120 plus 80, 480 minus 80. So when I covered more distance by train, it took more time. As against 8 hours, this time we took 8 hours and 20 minutes. Now try and imagine, try and understand, right? If the speed of the train was more than the speed of the car, then the total time required would have reduced, because you are covering more distance at a higher speed. You're able to follow? I mean, try to understand this. If both the speeds are equal, the speed of the train and the speed of the car are equal, then it doesn't matter what is the breakup between the two. 120 plus 480, 200 plus 400, 300 plus 300, 100 plus 500, 10 plus 590, doesn't matter. If the 2 speeds are equal, the total time required will be same in every case. Why is the total time changing here? Because the speeds are different. The point that I am trying to make is, because the distance covered by train is more and the time is increased, time taken is also more, it shows that the speed of the train is less than the speed of the car. The speed of the train is less than the speed of the car. Because if the speed of the train was more, see, if the speed is more, if T is more than C, to cover 200 kilometers will take lesser time. You're able to follow? And proportionately, the time reduced here when compared to the time increase here. You're getting it. It's all about how you break it up. When I was covering 120 kilometers by train, I took some time. When I cover same 200 kilometers by the same train, my time is here increasing, which means that the speed of the train is lesser. Or you can check it the other way also. When I covered 480 kilometers by car, I took 8 hours. Of course, some portion was covered by train as well. When I covered 400 kilometers by car, the time required has increased, which means the speed of the car was more than the speed of the train. Yes or no? The speed of the car was more than the speed of the train. Because if the speed of the car is less, I should save time, because I am covering lesser distance at lesser speed. You're able to follow. You're getting that point. So the conclusion that you must arrive, I'm sure all of you have followed this. I mean, just try and think about it yourself, right? You'll realize that from this, the conclusion that we can derive is that speed of the train is less than the speed of the car. Speed of the train is less than speed of the car. Because by covering more distance by train, the time requirement is increasing, which means speed is less. Yes or no? If time has increased means what? Your speed is less. When will the time increase? When the speed is less. Or when I am covering lesser distance by car, the time has increased. So I'm covering lesser distance, and even then the time has increased, which means the speed of the car was actually more. Yes or no? The speed of the car was more than the speed of the train. If you are clear with this point, and it doesn't take so much of time, right? I was explaining it to you, right? If you have this understanding, and if you get this idea, you will be able to eliminate option 3 and option 4 straight. I know that the speed of the car should be less than the speed of the, so I know that speed of the train should be less than the speed of the car. He's asking us to find out the ratio of speed of the train to that of the car. T is to C. Obviously, T should be less than C. So 3 is to 5 follows that ratio, right? 3 is lesser than 5. 3 is to 4 also follows. 3 is lesser than 4. But 4 is to 3, the speed of the train is more than speed of the car. 4 is to 5, the speed of the train. Achha, here also the speed of the train is lesser. So I think only option 3 we can eliminate. Only option 3 can be eliminated. Sorry. I thought 2 options can get eliminated, but only option 3 can be eliminated. But I would still say that you should build this understanding, right? I mean, before you proceed with the solution, just verify from the options. Just verify from the options. Right? If you are lucky and you're able to eliminate 3 of the options, then you're through. Without putting any step on paper now, you can solve the question. I mean, you can mark the answer and go to the next one. Right? But anyway, we are not so lucky here because only one option could be eliminated. Right? So understanding very clearly is that speed of the train must be less than the speed of the car. Now let's solve it using the regular method. I mean, it doesn't take much time that way also, but just look at this. So what does it say? 600 kilometers is the total journey. We covered 120 by train and we covered remaining 480 by car. Let's assume that speed of the train is T and speed of the car is C. See, total time required is 8 hours. What is time? Time is equal to distance by speed. So I covered 120 kilometers by train plus 480 kilometers by car. I took 8 hours. Distance by speed. Distance by speed equals to time. Distance by speed equals to time. So time plus time equals to 8 hours. Total time. You're able to follow? Let me write the type of equation that you are trying to produce here, right? Time required by train plus time required by car equals to the total time. We are trying to frame these two equations here. Now time required by train. What is time? Distance by speed. So distance 120 by speed T. Distance time required by car. Distance 480 by speed C equals to 8. In the second case, 200 kilometers by train plus remaining 400 kilometers by car gives us, it takes 20 minutes more. So 8 hours and 20 minutes. 8 hours and 20 minutes is like 8 1 by 3 hours. You understand? Convert 20 minutes to hours. 20 minutes is equal to 1/3 of an hour, right? 20 minutes is equal to 1/3 of an hour. Yeah? 2 equations and 2 unknowns. T and C are the 2 unknowns. Just solve for these 2 and you'll get the answer. Yes or no? You can solve for those 2 equations. Now, 8 1 by 3 by the way is like 25 by 3. So simplify this. What happens? I think it is common, right? This is 15 times. 8 goes 15 times. Here 8 goes 60 times. And if you take 25 common here, 25 here goes 8 times. Here 25 goes 16 times. So basically the first equation is 15C plus 60T equals to 1. What is the equation here? 15 into C plus 60 into T equals to, I think I'll just clear this part, right? I'm sorry, I have to do this for the lack of space, but yeah, just simplify the equation. It doesn't take much time. 15C plus 60T equals to, see, TC is the LCM here, right? That goes on the other side. It is TC. Similarly here, what happens? 8C, see, this 3 gets multiplied there. So 8C into 3, 24C plus 16T into 3 again. 16, 3, this 3. You're able to follow. 3 is getting multiplied in the numerator. So 8 into 3, 24, 16 into 3, 48. So 24C plus 48T equals to TC. Right? Now, as such, solving for C and solving for T would take a lot of time because we are getting, complex equations here. These are not linear equations, right? But then we don't have to solve for the actual values. We have to solve for the ratio. So what you can do is, since it is TC and TC on both the sides, you can compare the 2 equations directly. So 15C plus 60T 15C plus 60T equals to 24C plus 48T. So just take the right side, C on one side and T on the other side. What happens? 24C minus 15C, 9C equals to 60T minus 48T, 12T. So from this we'll get T by C equals to 9 by 12. 9 by 12 is how much? 3 by 4. That's your answer. Right? 3 by 4. 3 by 4 is option 2. I would repeat, if we have to actually solve for T and C, the real values of T and C, absolute values of T and C, solving these equations would take a lot of time. But since we are dealing with ratio, we just have to work on the ratio. You can just compare the two equations and find out the speed ratio. So 9C equals to 12T, T by C will be 9 by 12. 9 by 12 is 3 by 4. Okay? You're able to follow? So I think again, quick calculations, whether you have to simplify the equations or taking variables on one side and things like that. Right, and don't try to solve the actual values of T and C. If you try to solve the actual values of T and C using those equations, then this makes no sense. Right, just try to compare the two and get the ratio. It's very easy that way, right? Can we go to the next one? Okay, I think some of you are asking me for a shortcut method. What can be a shorter method than this? I would say always try for eliminating the options, right? What we tried initially. Of course, it didn't work here because only one option got eliminated. But try that, because in some cases I've seen, in fact in the actual exam, real exam, I've seen that using those logics, we were able to eliminate 3 of the options. So you don't have to put pen on paper at all. You just straight away cancel 3 options and mark the other one as the answer. But yeah, we are unfortunate here that way. I think it's easy. See, we are not solving the actual speeds of train and car, right? We are just getting the ratio. So just work on these equations. And I was looking at the chat. Somebody said, can we say that 20 minutes was the time taken by the train to cover 80 kilometers? Well, no, we cannot directly say that 20 minutes was the time taken by the train to cover 80 kilometers of journey. So you're saying 120 becomes 200. So extra 80 kilometers was covered by the train and extra time taken was 20 minutes. It's not correct, because the extra time taken was 20 minutes. At the same time, you should also realize that earlier the car covered 480, now the car has covered 400. So some time will be saved there, and that time saved actually has gone in time taken by the train. So you just then cannot consider 80 kilometers and 20 minutes for the train. Okay. I think let's go to the next one. I think it's very easy, not complex at all, right? Yeah, so let me present the next question to you all. Here's the next one. Try this quickly. The railway fares of an air-conditioned sleeper and ordinary sleeper class are in the ratio 4:1. Number of passengers traveled by air-conditioned sleeper and ordinary sleeper classes were in the ratio 3:25. If the total collection was rupees 37,000, how much did air-conditioner sleeper passengers pay? Now this question should not take more than 5 seconds in my view, right? Read the question carefully and try and get the answer by the time you finish reading the question. The railway fares of air-conditioned sleeper and ordinary sleeper class are in the ratio of 4:1. So we are talking about fares. What is the fare ratio? For air-conditioned is to ordinary. The ratio is 4:1. This is fare ratio, right? Then the number of passengers. The number of passengers ratio for air-conditioned is to ordinary, right? Travel by air-conditioned sleeper and ordinary sleeper classes is 3:25. 3:25. the total collection was 37,000 for both the classes. Then how much did the air conditioned sleeper passengers pay is the question. See, you got to understand that the total collection here is a product of the fare and the number of passengers. You understand? It's like price into quantity, right? Revenue is like price into quantity. So collection is also like revenue, which is the price into quantity. Quantity here is the number of passengers. You're getting it? So what will be the collection ratio? The question now is, what is the collection ratio? Collection ratio for air condition is to ordinary. Simple. Multiply 4 with 3, multiply 1 with 25. 4 into 3, 12 is to 1 into 25, 25. This is the collection ratio. The collection ratio for air condition is to ordinary class is 12 is to 25. The total collection is 37,000. So just break 37,000 in this ratio. What is he asking us to find out? How much did air conditioned sleeper passengers pay? How many parts? 12 parts. So air conditioned passengers paid how much? 12 parts out of total 12 plus 25, 37 parts. Multiplied by 37,000. How much will that be? 12,000. Option 3. Should not take more than 10 seconds. Right? Just multiply the two ratios. 4 is to 1 and 3 is to 25. The product will give you 12 is to 25. Be careful. Here it is A is to O and A is to O. So you can directly multiply. By any chance, if it is A is to O and O is to A, then you have to do the multiplication accordingly. You're able to follow. So be careful. These questions can sometimes be made tricky by changing the order of the variables, right? Anyways, option 3, 12,000 is the answer, which would take about 8 to 10 seconds maximum. And let's go to the next one now. Here's the next question. Try this out. Quick. 8 members of a club donate rupees 100 each towards a relief fund, and the president of the club donates rupees 50 more than the average donation of all, including the president of them. Average donation of all of them, including the president. Then the contribution of the president is. Okay, answers have started coming in. Nikunj Agarwal, Rishika Menon, Chandra Neeraj, Monika, Preeti, all of them have got 156.25. Chaitanya, Pooja, Neeta, Sachin Singh, and others. So let's discuss this. See what it says. 8 members of a club donate rupees 100 each towards a relief fund, and the president of the club donates rupees 50 more than the average donation of all of them, including the president. Then the contribution of the president is. So basically there are 8 members in a club and each of them donates rupees 100 towards the relief fund. The president of the club donates 50 more than the average donation of all of them. And this all of them includes the president as well. Right? So what is the contribution of the president is the question. What is the contribution of the president? Without putting pen on paper, within no time, you should eliminate option 3. Why? Answer cannot be less than 100. Remember, answer cannot be less than 100. Why is it so? See, members themselves have donated rupees 100 each. We know that the president has donated more than the average donation. See, if all the 8 members have donated 100, average is 100. Including the president, there will be some average. The president has donated 50 more than that average. The president has donated 50 more than the average. So answer has to be more than 100. In fact, answer has to be more than 150. So you can also eliminate option 1 here. You getting it? Option 1 and option 3 get eliminated within no time. 1 and 3 get eliminated within no time because average of the members is 100. 8 members donated 100 rupees each. Average is 100. The president donated 50 more. Even if you don't include the president, even if you do not include the president in the group, president's donation will be how much? 100 plus 50, 150. In fact, it will be more than 150, right? When the president is included. So 106 and 56 get eliminated straight. Possible answers are 156.25 and 206.25. Let's say if one more option is gets eliminated using this method or technique that we have used, we are done. We don't have to solve the question at all. But now that we have two options left, 156.25 and 206.25, we have to do some calculation, right? So let's see what the calculation is. See, let us find out the donation of the president. Let's assume the president has donated P rupees. How will you calculate this P? P should be equal to, see, the president of the club donates 50 more than the average donation of all of them. What do you mean by average donation? See, 8 members have donated 100 each, plus the president has donated P. So what is the total donation? 8 into 100 plus P. 8 members donated 100 each, so 800, plus the president donated P rupees. This is the total donation, divided by 9 is the average. 8 into 100 plus P divided by 9. This is the average, right? Total by number of members. 9 members. Remember, there are total 9 members, including the president. The president donated 50 more than the average. So this is the average plus 50. President donated 50 more than the average. So plus 50 on the average. Average is 800 plus P by 9. Solve for P. Only one equation, one variable you can solve. Solve for P, what happens? We get, I'm directly solving it. Like I said, you don't have to write every step on paper, right? So cut down the number of steps. You should be able to do the calculation mentally. 9P minus P. 8P. 9P minus P. 8P equals to, this will be 800 plus, see this 9 before you multiply with P, you have to multiply with 50 here. 9 is the LCM basically. So this 50 becomes 450. You're able to follow? So this 50 becomes 450 and this 9 becomes LCM. So 9P minus 9P minus P, 8P equals to 800 plus 450, 1250. So P will be equal to 1250 by 8. 1250 by 8 will be 156.25. That's your answer. Right? So 156.25, option 2 is the answer. Next question. Try this one. This is on mensuration. It says the diameter of a sphere is twice the diameter of another sphere. The curved surface area of the first and the volume of the second are numerically equal. The numerical value of the radius of the first sphere is. You have 1 minute for this. Your time starts now. Two, 8, 1, 24. Different answers have come in already. And looks like you're all confused. Amit Verma has got 8. Sharif has got 1. 1 is option 1 here, which is 3. Isha has got 24. So 3 answers so far, and all 3 are different. I'll wait for a few more responses before we take this up. Quick. Naman Agarwal has got 24, Chaitanya has got 24, Anil Saini has got 12, which is not there in the options, Anil. Atish has got 24, Aditya has got 8. Alright, so let's solve this now. See what it says. The diameter of a sphere is twice the diameter of another sphere. The curved surface area of the first and the volume of the second are numerically equal, the numerical value of the radius of the first sphere is. So basically we are talking about two spheres here, where the diameter of the sphere is twice the diameter of another sphere. So diameter of first sphere is twice the diameter of second sphere. So let's say diameter of first sphere is d1, which is equal to twice the diameter of the second sphere. So the two diameters are d1 and d2, let's say. So the first one is twice the second one. The curved surface area of the first and the volume of the second are numerically equal, right? The curved surface area of the first sphere and the volume of the second sphere are numerically equal, right? Then the numerical value of the radius of the first sphere. So basically he's asking us to find out R1. R1 is equal to what? The numerical value of the radius of the first sphere. R1 equals to what? See, clearly if D1 is equal to 2D2, then R1 will be equal to 2R2. Because the diameter is nothing but twice the radius. So if D1 is twice D2, then R1 will be twice R2. Yes or no? Simple understanding there. Now, this part of the question is important, that the curved surface area of the first and the volume of the second are numerically equal. Right? CSA of the first one is equal to the volume of the second one. What is curved surface area? 4 pi r square. For a sphere, the curved surface area is 4 pi r square. R is nothing but R1 here. So 4 pi R1 square equals to volume of the second one. What is volume of a sphere? 4 by 3 pi r cube. So 4 by 3 pi r cube. R here is R2. So R2 cube. Okay? So 4 pi R1 square equals to 4 by 3 pi R2 cube. Curved surface area of the first one equals to volume of the second one. Now simplify this, what happens? 4 pi and 4 pi gets cancelled on both the sides. We have 3 R1 square equals to R2 cube. Right? Or just substitute from this, we can say that R1 equals to 2R2, right? We know that R1 is equal to 2R2. Substitute it here. So what happens? 2R2 squared equals to R2 cube by 3. Solve for this and you'll get the answer. So 2R2 square will become, 2R2 whole square will become 4R2 squared, which is equals to R2 cube by 3. So R2 squared and this cube gets cancelled. Finally, we have R2. R2 equals to 4 into 3, 12. 4 into 3, 12. But what is he asking us to find out? R1 and not R2. If R2 is 12, what is R1? R1 is twice R2. Substitute that. So R1 will be equal to 2 times of R2. 2 times of 12, which is 24. So option 2 would be the answer. Right? Next question. Try this one. Now this one is from number theory, right? Number systems. Interesting question. See what it says. If the sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000, right? Sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000 is subtracted from the same integer, the resulting number is always divisible by. If the sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000 is subtracted from the same integer, the resulting number is always divisible by. Don't try to use equations. I'm giving you a hint. Don't try to use any equation or formula. Just go with random substitution, follow the given conditions and see which option satisfies the question there. I'll give you 1 minute for this. Your time starts now. If the sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000 is subtracted from the same integer, then the resulting number is always divisible by 2 or 5 or 6 or 9. I'll give you 1 minute for this. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. answer? All right, the time is up. So let's look at the solution now. I can see that most of you have got option 4 as an answer, right? Meenakshi, Atish, Revati Sharma, Anu, Vaishnavi, Vinay, Patmesh, Nithin, Hiranmoy and others, right? So let's take this up. See what the question says. If the sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000 is subtracted from the same integer, the resulting number is always divisible by 2 or 5 or 6 or 9. So simple one line question and very interesting, right? It says if the sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000. So sum of the digits of any integer between 100 and 1000, in the range of 100 and 1000, is subtracted from the integer itself, is subtracted from the same integer. So basically sum of the digits is subtracted from the same integer. The resulting number is always divisible by what? Is it always divisible by 2, always by 5, always by 6 or always by 9? You getting it? So the idea is this. Basically, integer, you take any integer between 100 and 1000. Integer minus sum of the digits. We are subtracting the sum of the digits. We are subtracting the sum of the digits from the same integer. So you take an integer, subtract the sum of the digits of that integer from that. Now this number is always divisible by what is the question? This result that you get, the resulting number, integer minus sum of the digits, the resulting number is always divisible by what? Is it always divisible by 2 or 5 or 6 or 9? The easiest way to solve this question is to just take random numbers, 2-3 numbers, and try to eliminate the wrong answer options, right? But remember, the conditions have to be followed. What is the condition? The integer has to be between 100 and 1000. The integer has to be between 100 and 1000. 100 and 1000. Right? Like for example, what are the numbers between 100 and 1000? You can take anything from 101, 102 and so on up to 999. Right? So take one. Like for example, 101. 101. Substitute in this condition. 101 minus sum of the digits is 1 plus 0 plus 1. What is the resultant number? This is 1 plus 0 plus 1. Sum of the digits is 2. 101 minus 2 is 99. The resultant number is 99. Now 99 is divisible by what? Is 99 divisible by 2? No. Option 1 is eliminated. Is 99 divisible by 5? No. Option 2 is eliminated. You're able to follow. 99 is not divisible by 5, right? See, when you say divisible, it is, exactly divisible. There should not be any remainder. 99 is divisible by 2. 99 by 2 is like 49.5. 99 by 5 is like 19.8. Right? But the idea is it should be perfectly divisible. So is 99 divisible by 2? No. Is 99 divisible by 5? No. Is 99 divisible by 6? 99 by 6? No. 96 by 6 is 16. But 3 is remaining, right? 3 is the remainder. So 6 also is eliminated. Is 99 divisible by 9? Yes. So option 4 is the answer. In the first verification itself, you have got a number where 3 options are eliminated. So easy to go. Take any number. Maybe some numbers will eliminate only 1 or 2 options. Right? Let's see. I'll choose a different color so that we don't get confused, right? Let's take the number. Let's say 105. 105. 105 minus 1 plus 0. And don't write all these steps. Cut down the number of steps. 105 minus. Okay, this is also giving us 99 only. So no point in taking this. Let's choose. Let's say 734. 734 randomly. 734. 734 minus 7 plus 3 plus 4. Sum of the digits. See, 734 falls between 100 and 1000. So number minus the sum of the digits. So 7 plus 3 plus 4 is 14. 7 plus 3, 10. 10 plus 4, 14. 734 minus 14 is how much? 734 minus 14 is 720. But the problem is 720 is divisible by 2. It is divisible by 5. It is divisible by 6. It is also divisible by 9. So taking this number will not help us at all, right? This has given us all the possible answers. So this is, this is not the right value that we should choose. I mean, if you have chosen this by any chance, you have to go for something else. Like for example, let's say, let me just take one more example, right? Let's say we have chosen 521. 521. So 521 minus what? 5 plus 2 plus 1. 521. 5 plus 2 plus 1 is 8, right? 7 plus 1, 8. 521 minus 8 is minus 8. It will give you what? 513. 513. Is 513 divisible by 2? No. Is 513 divisible by 5? No. Is 513 divisible by 3? 480 plus 33. No. Is 513 divisible by 9? It should be. It should always be divisible by 9, right? That's the question, right? Always. It should be divisible by 9. Check. 450 plus 63. Yes. Yeah, it goes 57 times. So 9 is the answer. Right? So this is how you just verify and get the answer, right? You don't waste your time in trying the regular method. Okay? Let's move to the next question. Here's the next one. Try this out quickly. 7 years ago, the average age of A, B, and C was 51 years. If A is 3 years older than B and B is 3 years older than C, then the present ages of A, B, and C are in years. Quick. 7 years ago, the average of A, B, C was 51. If A is 3 years older than B and B is 3 years older than C, then the present ages of A, B, and C are. Quick. Naman Agarwal has got the answer as option 1, which is 61, 58 and 55. I'll wait for a few more responses before we look at the solution. Neeraj Jha has got option 3, 55, 58 and 61. Yashwant Kumar has got option 1. Yes. Chaitanya has got option 1. Nikunj Agarwal has got option 1. Madhuri has got option 3, 55, 58, 61. Kritika Datta option 1. Ashish option 1. Vaishnavi has got option 1. Good. So let's take this up now. See what the question says. 7 years ago, the average age of A, B and C was 51 years. If A is 3 years older than B and B is 3 years older than C, then the present ages of A, B and C are in years, right? What are the present ages of A, B and C in years? So there are 2 points basically here, right? First point is that 7 years ago, the average age of A, B, C was 51 years. Now try and understand, this we have discussed in our video on averages as well. If 7 years ago the average was 51, what is the present average? 51 plus 7, 58. You don't have to spend any time in deciding this, right? 7 years ago, the average of A, B, C was 51. So if you go by the concept of equal distribution, we can say that if 7 years ago the average was 51, A is 51, B is 51, C is 51. Equal distribution, right? Equal distribution. So which means A, B and C, all three were 51 years, 7 years ago. Presently, what will happen? If you look at the present scenario, each of A, B and C will increase by 7 years. If each of A, B, C and C have increased by 7 years, average also increases by 7 years. That's a classical law, right? If each value is increased by 7, average increases by 7. So from 7 years ago to the present point, what has happened? All of these A, B and C have increased by 7. If all have increased by 7, we can say that average is also increased by 7. So what will be the present average? 51 plus 7, 58. Present average will be 51 plus 7, which is 58. Now average is 58 means what? Sum A plus B plus C. A plus B plus C will be thrice of 58. What is 3 times of 58? 150 plus 24, 174. What's the other thing that is known to us? A is 3 years older than B and B is 3 years older than C. So A is equal to B plus 3 and B is equal to C plus 3. So basically 3 equations. A plus B plus C equals to 174, B equals to B, A equals to B plus 3, B equals to C plus 3. 3 equations in 3 variables you can solve and get the answer. However, a smart person will not solve these equations. Equations are correct. I'm not saying the equations are wrong. Equations are correct, but if you are smart, you will not work on these equations. You will in fact try to work on elimination. Eliminate the wrong answers. See, clearly from the data, we know that A is 3 years older than B and B is 3 years older than C, which means A has to be greater than B and B has to be greater than C. A is 3 years more than B and B has to be 3 years more than C. In fact, the differences between two consecutive here has to be 3. Difference between A and B has to be 3. Difference between B and C also has to be 3. Just look at the options that satisfy this condition. See, he is asking us to find out the percentages of A, B and C. So obviously the order is A, B, C only. So 61 is, yes, 3 more than 58, satisfied. 58 is 3 more than 55, satisfied. So first option satisfies the condition. A greater than B, greater than C. Also the difference is 3 and 3. 61 minus 58 is 3, 58 minus 55 is 3. So this is a possible answer. Look at option 2. 54 and 51. Yeah, greater. 51 and 48 greater, and both are greater by 3 and 3. 54 is greater than 51 by 3. 51 is greater than 48 by 3. So this also is possible answer. Look at option 3. 55 and 58. A is less than B. 55 is less than 58. Eliminate. Look at option 4. 48 and 51. A is less than B. Is it possible? No. We know that A is greater than B. Option 4 gets eliminated. So the possible answers are option 1 or option 2. Option 1 or option 2. Right? Now, if you look at average, again, how do we go next? What do we do next? We know that the average is 58. Average is 58. That means if I go by equal distribution, if I go by the concept of equal distribution, what happens? A should be equal to, B should be equal to, C should be equal to 58. Average will be 58. If you look at the second set of values, the values given in option 2, A is 54, B is 51, C is 48. All three of them are less than 58. When all A, B, C are less than 58, how can the average be 58? Not possible. A is less than 58, B is less than 58, C also is less than 58. So how can the average value be 58? Not possible. So the only possible answer here is option 1. 50, 61, 58 and 55. You're able to follow? You're able to follow? Yes. Simple. So you can solve the equations as well. Solving equations is not difficult. You substitute B equals to C plus 3. Substitute A equals to C plus 3 plus 3. So everything in terms of C, you will get the value of C and you can verify. But why do we have to solve the equations when we can eliminate the options in a smart way, right? 3 and 4 get eliminated because it does not follow this condition, and 2 gets eliminated because it does not follow the average. Hence option 1 is the answer. Let me quickly see how many of you have followed the smart method. All of us can get the answer, but the point is how many of us will solve it smartly is the question. It's an easy one, I agree, but question was easy. Was the solution that you followed easy or not is the question. So tell me how many of you have followed this smart method? Maybe you have followed a better way of solving the question. I'm not saying that, but if I were taking the exam, I would have verified this quickly and marked the answer. So that's why I'm telling, right? In every question, if you see, we are trying to see how can you eliminate the answers. That way it helps you save a lot of time, right? Followed, all of you have followed? Yeah. Yeah, Raji says got it, which means Raji did not follow this method, right? Raji had done something else. But Sai Kiran, Thiru, Amit Negi, Naman Agarwal, everybody said followed the smart method. So good. Murli had followed a regular method, right? Nirmal followed a regular method. Neeraj followed the same method. Yeah. Good. Let's move to the next question now. Here's the next one. The amount of extension in a spring is proportional to the weight hung on it. If the weight of 5 kgs produces an extension of 0.4 centimeters, what weight would produce an extension of 5 centimeters? Sitter, right? It should not take more than 5 seconds to answer the question. What does it say? The amount of extension in a spring is proportional to the weight hung on it. So extension is proportional to the weight. If weight of 5 kg produces an extension of 0.4 centimeters, what weight would produce an extension of 5 centimeters? So 5 kgs gives you 0.4 centimeter. So what will give you 5 centimeters is the question. Cross multiply 5 into 5. This question mark will be equal to 5 into 5 by 0.4. 25 by 0.4 or 250 by 4, which is 62.5. Next question. Okay, here's the next one. Try this now. How many numbers divisible by 125 can be written using all the digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5 exactly once? Quick. You have 1 minute for this. Since this would take a little bit of time, I'm giving you 1 minute. Let's see how many of you get the answer. How many numbers divisible by 125? How many numbers which are divisible by 125 can be formed using the digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5 exactly once? Using all the digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5 exactly once. Got the answer? All right, the time is up and we've got a variety of answers as expected. Sachin Singh has got option 1, which is 4. Himani Sharma has got 7, which is option 4. Durga Prasad has got option 4. Suresh has got option 3. Pallavi has got 4. Now I don't know, when you guys say 4, is it option 4 or number 4? Sai Kiran says he's not getting any idea. Apurva Rawat says 5 will always be there in the last. Ashwini Kumar says nice typing speed. Okay, looks like you were able to hear me type something, huh? Okay. Sorry about that. And who else? Vaishnavi has got 4, 6. Durga Prasad has got 5. Malvika Mohanty has got 4. Vaishnavi has got 4. I'm sure when you say 4, you're referring to option 1, right? See, be careful when, we have sometimes the situations where, option 4 is, of course, a possibility, and number 4 is also a possibility. So when you type in 4, let me know if you're referring to option 4 or the value 4. I would assume that you are referring to the value 4, right? Murli has got 6. Vishnu has got 4. Yashaswini says she's got struck. Srinivas says the last digit is fixed. Yeah. All right, so let's take this up now. See what it says. How many numbers divisible by 125 can be written by using all the digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5 exactly once? So question from permutations and combinations. How many numbers divisible by 125? The numbers have to be divisible by 125 can be written using all the digits, right? Be careful, using all the digits. What are the digits? 2, 3, 8, 7, 5 exactly once. So all the digits have to be used and you cannot repeat the digits. Repetition is not allowed, right? All the digits have to be used exactly once. Now the fact that all the digits have to be used tells us that there have to be 5 digit numbers, right? There are 5 digits, 2, 3, 8, 7 and 5. So we have to form 5 digit numbers. And these 5 digit numbers should be divisible by 125. Should be divisible by 125. Now understand, when is a number divisible by 125? What are the possibilities? A number is divisibility for 125. What is the divisibility rule for 125? Right, what's the divisibility rule for 125? Divisibility for 125. What is it? A number is divisible by 125 only if, the last 3 digits. Last 3 digits are 125 or 250 or 375 or 500 or 625 or 750, right? Or 875, or all are zeros. You're getting it? Or all 3 are zeros. All 3 can be zeros also. So these are the possibilities, right? All 3 can be zeros. 125 to basically multiples of 125. 125, 250, 125 into 2, 125 into 3, 125 into 4, 125 into 5, 125 into 6, 125 into 7. Irrespective of what these remaining digits are, we're not really worried about this part of the number, right? This doesn't matter. What matters is the last 3 digits, right? Only the last 3 digits. Whatever be the last 3 digits, whatever be the remaining part of the number, the last 3 digits have to be one of these sets. 000, 125, 250, 375, 500, 625, 750, 875. right? What comes after 875 is again 000, right? So these are the possibilities: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the eight ways of filling the last three digits, right? 8 ways of filling the last three digits. Now, if you look at the digits that have been given to us, we have got 2, 3, 8, 7, and 5. So clearly there is no repetition allowed, and none of the digits are also repeated. So what are the cases that get eliminated? 000 gets eliminated. We cannot have triple zeros at the end because we don't have a single zero at all. So wherever we have a zero, let's eliminate that, because zero is not a part of these 5 digits, right? 500 also gets eliminated. 750 gets eliminated. Then 1 is also not there, so 125 gets eliminated. Right? We don't have 1 in the set of digits here. So 125 is not possible at all. Is 375 possible? We have got 3, we have got 7, we have got 5. Yes, 375 is possible. Is 625 possible? We have got 2 and 5, but we don't have 6. So 625 is also eliminated. Is 875 possible? Yes, we have got 8, we have got 7, and we have got 5. 875 is also possible. So I think the only ways in which 5-digit numbers can be formed using the given digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5, such that the numbers are divisible by 125, is when the last 3 digits are either 375 or 875, because 3, 7, 8, and 5 all are available. So there are 2 ways. 2 ways as in 2 ways for filling the last 3 digits, right? There are 2 ways in which the last 3 digits can be filled. There are 2 ways in which the last 3 digits can be filled. What are the 2 ways? 375 or 875. Right? Only 2 ways of doing this. Now, the first 2 digits, I mean, if you look at 375, when you have chosen 3, 7, and 5, the remaining 2 digits, 2 and 8, can be filled here. In how many ways can you fill the 2 digits here? I mean, in these 2 places, in 2 ways, 2 factorial ways. The number of ways in which the first 2 digits can be filled is 2 factorial ways, because 2 and 8 are available. You can either take 2, 8 or 8, 2. Similarly, when you choose 875, the digits available are 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 can be filled in 2 places in 2 factorial ways. So overall, what's the answer? See, one action, the first 2 places can be filled in 2 ways. The last 3 places can also be filled in 2 ways. If one action can be done in m ways, the other action can be done in n ways, then both the actions together can be done in m into n ways. So the first 2 places can be filled in 2 ways. The last 3 places can also be filled in 2 ways. So the total number of ways in which 5-digit numbers can be formed using the digits 2, 3, 8, 7, 5, such that the number is divisible by 125, is only 4. There are only 4 ways of doing it. So 4 such numbers can be formed, and hence the answer is option 1. Yeah, option 1 is the answer. So quickly tell me if you have followed this. I want a clear confirmation on this before I move to the next one, because I'm sure some of you would be confused, and I'm sure because I can see a variety of responses that you've given there, right? Like Monica has got option 4, which is 7, right? Yeah, others have got option 1. Most of you have got option 1. Sachin Singh has got option 3, which is 6. Himani Sharma has also got 7, right? Suresh has got option 3. So all these guys who have not got 4 as the answer have to confirm if they have followed the solution. Can we move to the next one? It's already 8 o'clock. I have a few more questions. We'll complete all these questions before we close the session today. Did you all follow this? Can we go to the next one? Yeah, I think a lot of you have confirmed that. Vimal, Anubha, Kiran, Ajit. Yeah. Nitya, Roshni, Yashaswini, Sai Jyoti, Rishika. Good. So I think we are good to go. Let me just move to the next one now. So sharing the screen again, and here's the next question. Try this quickly. This is on ratios now. Ratios clubbed with mensuration. See what it says. See what it says. The ratio of weights of 2 spheres is 8:27, and the ratio of weights per 1 cubic centimeter of materials of 2 is 8:1. If the ratio of the radii of the spheres is. So 2 ratios have been given to us. Ratio of the weights and ratio of weights per cubic centimeter. From this, we have to find out the ratio of the radii of the 2 spheres. So you have 1 minute for this. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. Option 1. Two is to 3. Vidya has got option 2, 1 is to 3. But I think many of you have got option 1, 2 is to 3. In fact, most of you have got option 1 except Vidya. Vidya says it should be option 2, 1 is 3. All others have got option 1. Chandra Neeraj, Ahalya Mitra, Sachindra, and Chaitanya, Nikunj Agarwal, Patmesh, Isha. Vaishnavi has also got option 2, 1 is to 3. Anubha, Neeta, and Chaitanya have got option 1, 2 is to 3. So let's take this up now. See what it says. The ratio of weights of two spheres is 8 is to 27. And the ratio of weights per cubic centimeter of material of the two is 8 is to 1. The ratio of the radii of the spheres is dash. So basically two ratios have been given to us, right? The ratio of weights of two spheres, which is 8 is to 27, and the ratio of weights per cubic centimeter of the two materials is 8 is to 1. From this, he is asking us to find out the radii of the spheres. Now, even if you have got no clue about how to solve this question, just go by the units. I used to apply this technique in my entrance exams, which included the subject of physics. There were many questions where I had no clue about the concept. But then what I knew is smart ways of eliminating the options, right? Units are very, very important, especially in a subject like physics. So here also, even if you don't have any clue, just go by the units, right? There are two types of units mentioned in the question. One is weights. The other unit is weights per 1 cubic centimeter, which is like weight per volume, right? 1 cubic centimeter is like volume. So basically it's like this. Weight 1, there are two cubes, right? Two spheres, right? So weight 1 by weight 2 equals to 8 by 27. The other ratio is what? Weights per cubic centimeter. So it's like volume, right? Cubic centimeter is like volume. Units again. Cubic centimeter is like volume. So weight per volume. Weight per volume. So W1 by V1 by W2 by V2. This is equal to 8 by 1. Now, based on these two ratios, you can get V1 by V2. You're able to follow. What do we do? You're getting the point? So this, if you simplify further, it's like W1 V2 by W2 V1 equals to 8 by 1. We already know what is W1 by W2, 8 by 27. Substitute that here. You're getting it? W1 by W2 is 8 by 27. From the second ratio, we know W1 V2 by W2 V1. This is how you multiply, right? You get 8 by 1. So substitute that here now. What do we get? We get 8 V2 by 27 V1 equals to 8 by 1. So 8 and 8 gets cancelled. Finally, we have V2 by V1. V2 by V1 equals to 27 by 1. V2 by V1. Be careful, V2 by V1. So it gets cross multiplied, right? V2 by V1 is 27 by 1. Or V1 by V2 is 1 by 27, right? So basically V1 by V2 is 1 by 27. That's it, you're done. He's asking us to find out what ratio of radii. See, radius is a part of volume, right? What is volume? Volume is like, volume of a sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube, right? So this is like 4 by 3 pi r1 cube by 4 by 3 pi r2 cube equals to 1 by 27. So 4 by 3 pi gets cancelled. R1 by R2 whole cube is 1 by 27. Implies R1 by R2 will be 1 by 3. Yes or no? Take cube root on both the sides. So R1 by R2 whole cube is 1 by 27. Apply cube root. R1 by R2 will be cube root of 1 by 27. Cube root of 1 by 27 is 1 by 3. So 1 is to 3. Option 2 will be your answer. Again, do not go by the length of the explanation, right? You can cut down a lot of steps. Here, because I'm explaining you how to get the volume ratio, it has taken so much of time. If you understand the whole process, you can directly say that, 20, you can start from this step onwards. 8 by 27 into V2 by V1 equals to 8 by 1. And then proceed further. After that, it's very easy. Here also, don't write V1 by V2 is 4 by 3 pi R1 cube by 4 by 3 pi R2 cube. It's a waste of your time, right? You know that 4 by 3 pi is common, it's constant. Directly take it as R1 by R2 whole cube. In fact, you don't even have to write this step. This is a waste of time in my view. You know that volume is proportional to radius of cube of the radius. So radius will be cube root of this volume ratio. So 1 by 27 under cube root. You will get 1 by 3 as the answer. So cut down the steps based on what you understand, right? And make it quick, right? Keep it simple. Trust all of you have followed this. Quickly confirm on this so that we can move to the next one. We are already at 8:11. We have some more questions. I'm definitely going to cover all the questions before we close the session today. We have to confirm on this one, right? So weight ratio is given, weight by volume ratio is given. Try to get the volume ratio from that, and then radii can be calculated, right? Clear to all of you? 1:3 is the answer. Now I don't know what you guys have done to get 2:3. 1:3 is the final answer. Option 2. Option 2, 1:3. Right, so remember this technique of units. Units are very, very useful. I mean, all those who have dealt with physics where we have multiple choice questions would know the advantage of using units, right? I mean, if I have to solve questions in physics, I just go by units. At least half of the questions can be solved. See, it doesn't matter what method you follow, doesn't really matter. I mean, speed is important, right? So, next one. Chalo, let's move to the next question now. Looks like all of you followed this. So the next question is on your screens now. 30 seconds, your time starts now. Got it? All right, let's look at the solution. A box weighs 8.5 kg when full of sand and weighs 5.5 kg when it is half filled with sand. Weight of the empty box is. So a sitter, you can just mark the answer without putting pen on paper, right? It says a box weighs 8.5 kg when it is full of sand and it is 5.5 kg when it is half filled with sand. So what is the weight of the empty box? So if I have to write down the equations, it's like this, right? There are let's say the weight of the sand is S and the weight of the box is B. So what is 8.5 kg? It is B plus S, 8.5. And it is half filled with sand. See, when it is half filled with sand, the weight of the sand will be half of S. So B plus S by 2 equals to 5.5 kg. So if you solve these two equations, right, subtract the first one from the second one. B minus B gets cancelled. S minus S by 2. S minus S by 2 is S by 2. S by 2 equals to 8.5 minus 5.5, which is 3. Which implies S is equal to 3 into 2, 6. Yes or no? Half of the sand's weight is 3 kgs. So the weight of the full sand, I mean total sand is 6 kgs. So out of 8.5 kgs, sand's weight is 6 kgs. Substitute here. So what will be the box weight? Box's weight will be 8.5 minus 6, which is 2.5 kgs. But again, the problem is if you solve this question on paper, the same solution has to be done without putting pen on paper, right? The fact that you put pen on paper makes it lengthy, right? It's a very simple question. 8.5 kgs and 5.5 kgs. What's the difference? 3 kgs. Why is this difference of 3 kg coming into picture? See, the box is there. In both the cases, the box is there. So its weight will also be there. What is not there in the second case is half of the sand. So this difference of 3 kgs is because of half of the sand. So if half of the sand is weighing 3 kgs, full sand or total sand will weigh 6 kgs. If total sand weighs 6 kgs in this 8.5 kgs, or if half of the sand is 3 kgs, from 5.5 you subtract 3 kgs, you will get 2.5, which is the weight of the box. Or full sand is 6 kgs, from 8.5 when you subtract 6 kgs, you will get 2.5, which is the weight of the box. Next question. Find the number which must be subtracted from 18,265 to make it a perfect square. Find the number which must be subtracted from 18,265 to make it a perfect square. We have solved such questions in the past. It's also there in our videos on approximations, right? So all those who have watched the video of approximations would know how to solve this. It will take about 40-45 seconds, not more than that. So your time starts now. There's a standard procedure. Just follow that and get the answer. Again, you have to be good with numbers. Otherwise, it will take longer. Quick. 40. I can see many of you have marked the answer as 40 already. All right, let's take this up. So here's the question. Find the number which must be subtracted from 18,265 to make it a perfect square, right? What should be subtracted? Find the number that must be subtracted from 18,265 to make it a perfect square. There is a standard procedure that you can follow and get the answer in about 30 to 40 seconds, right? What do? The given number is 18,265. 18,265. Now all you have to do is find out the nearest perfect square that you know. A nearest as in the look for a square, perfect square, which is as close as possible to 18,265. It need not be the closest possible one, but the one that can be as close as possible according to you, right? Like for example, 100 square. 100 square is 10,000, but then you know that there'll be like more numbers. I mean numbers higher than 10,000, which can be perfect squares and closer to 18,265, right? Let me just list down like few. 100 square is 10,000. But can we go further? Yes. Let's say 110 square. 110 square is how much? 12,100, right? We can go further, right? 130 square. 16,900. If you take 140 will be 19,600. I mean, you can consider 19,600 also. It is more, doesn't matter. More or less doesn't matter. It should be close to 18,265. But I would opt for, let's say, 130 square. 130 square is 16,900. So I can see that 16,900 is one perfect square, which is very close to 18,265. Now, how do you get the answer? Simple. 130. So what I'm trying to do here is, basically what we are trying to do here is find out the approximate square root of 18,265. Right? We are trying to find out the approximate square root. What is the approximate square root of 18,265? Right? How do we do that? That's what I'm explaining, right? Approximate square root. Let me just rewrite this, right? So approximate square root of 18,265. How do you get that? Right? Now we have found that 16,900 is close to 18,265, right? 16,900, which is the perfect square. So this is the process. 130. Why 130? Because 130 square is 16,900 plus. the difference of 18,265 and 16,900 divided by 2 times of this number 130. This is a technique. You just follow this technique. Follow this technique blindly and you'll get the answer. So it will be 130 plus, see 18,265 minus 16,900 is like 1365, right? 1265 plus 100, 1365. So 1365 divided by 2 into 130 is 260. Right? 130 plus 1365 by 260. Now approximate, we are doing an approximate calculation. So I think approximately 5 times, right? 260 into 5 is 1300. So this is approximately 5 times. So we can say the value is approximately 135. So basically the approximate square root of 18,265 is 135. Right? It is 135. 135. Now what you have to do in the next step. So this is the first step. We have found the approximate square root. In the next step, find out 135 square. Now you know how to find out squares of numbers, right? And especially when numbers are ending with 5. It's very easy to find out squares of numbers that end with 5. What is 135 square? 135 square is like 13 into 14. 13 into 14 is 182 followed by 25. 18,225. I know that 135 square is 18,225. The given number is 18,265. So can we now say that if I subtract 40, see what is the difference between 18,265 and 18,225? The difference is 40. So if I subtract 40 from this, if I subtract 40, I'll get what? 18,225, which is a perfect square, right? Which is a perfect square. So your answer is 40. You must subtract 40 to get the perfect square. Right? Subtract 40 from 18,265 to get the perfect square. And you can be very sure that there cannot be a number between 18,225 and 18,265 which is perfect square. The next perfect square will at least be 270, 280 more than this value. You understand? So answer has to be option 3. Option 3, 40. I hope all of you have followed the method. Even if you haven't, I'm not going to discuss this again. Why? We have discussed the same method in our earlier videos as well, right? Go to the video on approximations, understand how to find out approximate square root. The first thing is find out approximate square root. You're getting it? First step is to find out approximate square root. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to find out the approximate square root of 18,265. Then whatever value you get, try to get a perfect square for that. It will be very close to 18,265. Whatever is the difference, that has to be subtracted, right? So that's the solution. Okay. Clear to all of you? Can we move to the next one? I mean, like I said, even if it is not clear, I would ask you to watch the video again, right? This video will be added to your account by tomorrow end of the day. Watch it again and I'm sure you will follow it, right? Can we go to the next one? I mean, the method I have explained is very important because it is applicable for any value given there. Maybe in this case, some of you who know that 135 square is 18,225 can directly mark the answer. 40 is the difference. But that's a exception, right? I mean, you may not be able to arrive that close to the value easily in every case, right? So what we have done here, just follow that for any number given to you and you will get the answer. All right, I think I've got a lot of confirmation. So let me proceed to the next question. Here we go. Here's the next question. A man bought 25 crates of oranges for 10,000. He lost 5 crates. In order to earn a total profit of 25% of the total cost, he would have to sell each of the remaining crates at what price? You have 45 seconds for this. Your time starts now. Got it? All right. Good to see your speed here, right? Look at this. A man bought 25 crates of oranges for rupees 10,000. He lost 5 crates. In order to earn a total profit of 25% of the total cost, he would have to sell each of the remaining crates at. So I think a simple question from profit and loss, right? He has bought 25 crates for rupees 10,000. So the total cost price is rupees 10,000, right? He lost 5 crates. That means if he has lost 5 crates, he's left with only 20 of them now. In order to earn a profit of 25% of the total cost, profit is how much? 25%. 25% of the total cost, which is 25% of 10,000, which is 2,500. He would have to sell each of the remaining crates. So what will be the total selling price? Selling price is cost price plus profit. So it will come out to be 10,000 plus 2,500, which is 12,500. 12,500 for how many crates? For 20 crates. Remember, 12,500 for 20 crates. Why is it so? Because 5 crates are lost. 25 minus 5, 20. So what's the selling price of each crate? Selling price per crate. How much is that? I mean, you don't have to write this step. 12,500 by 20. It comes out to be 625. 625. Option 2. Next question. Now this is on simple and compound interest, I guess. Yeah. A money lender lends rupees 400 for 3 years to a person and lends rupees 500 for 4 years to the other person at the same rate of simple interest. If altogether he receives rupees 160 as interest, what is the rate of interest per annum? Another sitter in my view. You just have to, play with these numbers here. He has lent rupees 400 for 3 years to a person. So this is like principal 1. This is time 1. You're getting it if you just go by the equations. He lends another rupees 500. So principal 2 for 4 years, time 2. To another person at the same rate of simple interest. Rate of simple interest is same, which means R1 is equal to R2. The rate of interest is same in both the cases. If altogether he receives rupees 160 as interest. So basically SI1 plus SI2 equals to 160. What is the rate of interest per annum is the question. What is SI1? P1 T1 R1 by 100. What is SI2? P2 T2 R2 by 100. So do that calculation. P1 400, T1 3, R1. Let's say R1 equals to R2 equals to R. Both of them are equal. Divide by 100. Plus P2 T2 R2 by 100. SI2 is P2 T2 R2. P2 500, T2 4 years, R2 is R again, divided by 100 equals to 160. So what happens? Zeros anyway get cancelled. 3 4s 12, 5 4s 20. 12 plus 20, 32R. 32R is 160. So what is R? 160 by 32, which is 5%. Option 1 is the answer. Right? I mean, you can do this mentally as well. And of course, don't write these steps. R1 equals to R2 equals to R, SI1 plus SI2 equals to 160. This is a waste of time. Maybe you just put this equation directly and then simplify to get the answer. Here's the next one. A merchant buys 25 liters of milk at the rate of, what is this? I think there's some formatting error here. At the rate of, this should be the rupee symbol, at the rate of rupees 12 per liter. He mixes 5 liters of water in it and sells at the rate of rupees 10.4 per liter. His gain or loss is. Solve this quickly. A merchant buys 25 liters of milk daily at the rate of rupees 12 per liter. And he mixes 5 liters of water in it and sells at the rate of rupees 10.4 per liter. His gain or losses. Another simple one in my view, you just have to play with those values. Got it? All right. So here we go. Look at the question. A merchant buys 25 liters of milk daily at the rate of rupees 12 per liter. He mixes 5 liters of water in it and sells at the rate of 10.5 per liter. His gain or loss is. So look at the question again, right? He buys 25 liters of milk daily at the rate of 12 per liter. So what is the cost price of milk? What's the cost price of milk? He has bought 25 liters at 12 per liter. So 25 into 12. How much is that? 300. Remember, in such cases, when he's talking about mixing of water, generally we consider the cost price of water to be 0. Water is available free of cost. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? So he has bought 25 liters of milk at the rate of 12 per liter. So total costing on milk is 300. He mixes 5 liters of water in it, which is at 0 cost. From this, the total cost of mixture, the mixture of milk and water is how much? 300. 300 plus 0, 300. For how many liters? For, see, remember, 25 plus 5 liters. While the cost is 0, the quantity has increased. 25 plus 5, which is 30 liters of milk. Right? So cost of mixture per liter. What is the cost per liter? 300 by 30. Or I think we don't have to worry about per liter cost, right? Because anyway, he's asking us to find out the gain or loss in terms of percentage. So when he's talking about a percentage gain or loss, it doesn't matter whether you take it per liter or for the total quantity. So the cost of total mixture is how much? 300 rupees. He sells at the rate of 10.4 per liter. So what is the selling price of the mixture? See, 10.4 per liter. And how many liters? 30 liters. 10.4 into 30. You're getting it? For 30 liters. We are calculating for 30 liters. So 10.4 into 30 is how much? 312. So total cost price is 300. Total selling price is 312. Of course, he has made a profit. How much is the profit? Percentage profit. What is the percentage profit? Profit upon cost price. So he has made 12 rupees of profit, right? 312 minus 300. 12 upon 300 into 100. You know that percentage profit is profit by cost price into 100. So it comes out to be 4%. 4% profit, option 3. Mental calculation. I mean, this step is not to be put on paper, right? 300 and 312 meaning 4% difference. So 4 is the answer. 4%. Here's the next question. Interesting one. See, sound travels at 330 meters per second. The distance in kilometers of a thunder cloud when its sound follows the flash after 10 seconds is. Ashish had got 8% profit. Ashish, you have to check your calculation, right? It's not 8%, it's 4%. All others got 4%, so good to see that. Chalo, we are already at 8:34. I think a couple of more questions and we'll be done. Let's see how many we get the answer to this one. Sound travels at the rate of 330 meters per second. What is the distance of a thunder cloud? Of course, in kilometers, as you mentioned there. When its sound follows the flash after 10 seconds. Got it? All right. Look at this now. I'm sure all of you have got the right answer. I mean, 3.3 kilometers is in fact the right answer. But I want to ask all of you a question. And I'm going to ask this question just to check your understanding of the question, right? I'm trying to understand how many of you have actually followed the question. Let's read the question first. It says sound travels at 330 meters per second. The distance in kilometers of a thunder cloud when its sound follows the flash after 10 seconds is. So basically the speed of the sound is given. Then he says, what is the distance traveled by a thunder cloud? So, thunder cloud. So cloud which releases this thunder, right? So what is the distance traveled by a thunder cloud when its sound flash follows the flash after 10 seconds? when its sounds follows the flash after 10 seconds. Now I'm sure all of you have understood the question, but let me ask another question to all of you. Now you know what is the scenario, right? Basic principle is that we all know that light travels faster than sound, right? Light travels faster than sound. That is the reason when you look at a flash, a thunder flash, what do you see? The lightning comes first and the sound comes a little later, because for that lightning to travel all the distance to earth, it takes far lesser time when compared to the sound to travel the distance. You're getting it? It does that, right? Light travels faster than sound. So the light reaches our eyes faster, much faster than the time it takes for the sound to reach our eyes, right? That's the whole concept. Of course, from the cloud to our eyesight. Now, the question here is, you have been given the speed of sound, right? Sound travels at 330 meters per second. What is the distance that the thunder cloud travels if the sound comes 10 seconds later, if the sound follows the flash 10 seconds later? I hope all of you have understood this. I'm sure it's not very complex, but I'm just trying to kind of recheck my understanding of your understanding, right? The question that I have is, sometimes, if you observe, the flash comes and goes and then the sound comes. You're able to follow? Sometimes the flash is longer and the sound follows. Sometimes the flash comes and goes and then the sound comes. After the flash has gone, the sound comes. How do we know in this particular case that the flash was still there after 10 seconds? You're getting me? In this particular case, how can we assure, or how do we assure ourselves that the flash still existed after 10 seconds? Because the question is the distance traveled by the cloud, thunder cloud, when its sound follows the flash after 10 seconds. You're getting it? So try to imagine that whole situation, right? This is a thunder cloud. It releases a flash. After 10 seconds, the sound follows, right? He's asking us to find out the distance traveled by the flash. The distance traveled by the flash depends on how long the flash remained there, right? The sound came after 10 seconds. So, of the given options, the obvious option is 3.3 kilometers. There's nothing else, right? Only two numbers given to you. Cannot be determined is not there. None of this is not there. And the only value that we can arrive at is, distance is equal to speed into time. So 330 meters per second multiplied by 10 seconds will give you 3,300 meters, which is 3.3 kilometers. Done. You've got 1 mark. But were you clear with that idea is the question. That was the flash still there? Or, the point I'm trying to make is, maybe the flash traveled only 1.5 kilometers and then it vanished and sound comes after that. Or the flash traveled 2.5 kilometers or 3 kilometers or just 1 kilometer. The length of the flash could be just 1 kilometer or 3 kilometers. Sound will anyway fall after 10 seconds for whatever reasons. Yeah? No? Nikunj Agarwal says, yes, the flash is instant, or it is instantaneously, it won't exist after 10 seconds at all. So it doesn't exist after 10 seconds. How do we know that the flash has traveled for 10 seconds? See, when you are multiplying 330 meters by 10 seconds, you are saying that the flash traveled for 10 seconds. So each second it covered 330 meters, right? So just think about it. Anyway, answer is 3.3 kilometers. That's the advantage, right? There's nothing else that satisfies. We know that 0.33 kilometers, 33 kilometers, and 33.3 kilometers are ruled out. So we are not sure whether 3.3 is the answer or not. Or I would rather put it this way. I'm not sure if 3.3 is the answer or not. But I'm 100% sure that 1, 3, and 4 are not the answers. So we have no choice but to mark option 2. Anyways, so the question says sound travels at 330 meters per second, the distance in kilometers of a thunder cloud when its sound follows the flash after 10 seconds. Sound follows the flash after 10 seconds, right? Now, one way to kind of, argue on this is that the sound followed the flash after 10 seconds. So maybe the flash still existed and the sound followed it after 10 seconds, right? Which means the flash was there even after 10 seconds. So what's the distance traveled by the thunder cloud, right? Distance, is speed into time. The only speed given in the question is 330 meters per second. Only time given in the question is 10 seconds. So it comes out to be 3,300 meters, which is equal to 3.3 kilometers. Option 2 is the answer. Here's the next one. Quick. I think we've solved this question type many times in the past. It should not take more than 45 seconds. Option 1, Chaitanya has already marked the answer option 1 and Prabhakar has also got option 150. Waiting for a few more responses before we look at the solution. We have just one more question after this. So let's see how many of you get the right answers. Got it? 50, right? Okay, let's look at the solution. It says, the question here says A and B undertake a piece of work for rupees 250. A alone can do that work in 5 days and B alone can do that work in 15 days. With the help of C, they finish the work in 3 days. If everyone gets paid in proportion to the work done by them, find the amount that C will get, or the amount C will get is dash. Options are 50, 100, 150 and 200. So let's try and solve it. But basically A and B have undertaken a piece of work for which they'll get paid rupees 250. A alone can do the work in 5 days. B alone can do the work in 15 days. With the help of C, they finish the work in 3 days. Now you know that the persons here are gonna get paid in proportion to the work done. So basically, whenever you have to divide an amount between 3 persons, you have to divide it based on the capacity, right? So the capacity ratio is important. We have to work on the ratio of their capacities. What is the capacity ratio? That's the question. Now, how do you get that? See, we know the capacity of A is 1 by 5. If A can do the total work in 5 days, his capacity is 1 by 5. B can do the total work in 15 days, B's capacity is 1 by 15. But what is C's capacity is the question. We have not been given the number of days required by C to finish the work. Instead, we have been told that with the help of C, these guys have finished the work in 3 days, which means all 3 of them are working together. When all A, B and C work together, they finish the work in 3 days. Now A's capacity is 1 by 5, B's capacity is 1 by 15. Let's assume C's capacity is 1 by C. Their total capacity is 1 by 3. The fact that they can finish the work in 3 days means the total capacity is 1 by 3. A's capacity 1 by 5, B's capacity 1 by 15. What is C's capacity? Try to find out C's capacity from this. What will it be? 1 by C will be equal to, 15 is LCM, let's say. So 5 minus 3 minus 1. I'm just writing the next step. I've skipped one of the intermediate steps. I'm sure you understand how to do this calculation, right? 1 by 3 minus 1 by 5 minus 1 by 15. So that will give you 5 minus 3 minus 1, which is like 1 by 15. So C's capacity is 1 by 15. Now what is the capacity ratio? The capacity ratio will be equal to, what will it be? A is 1 by 5, is to B is 1 by 15, is to C is 1 by 15. C's capacity is also 1 by 15. Simplify this further. See, what can we do? Multiply every part here by 15, because 15 is a common multiple, right? So it gives you 3 is to 1 is to 1. That's it, done. You've got the capacity ratio, means you've got the answer. Total amount is 250. We have to find out C's share. How much will C get? C will get how much? 1 part out of 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1. 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5. 1 out of 5 parts multiplied by 250. How much is that? 50. So basically divide 250 in this ratio. 3 is to 1 is to 1. Total 5 parts. Divide 250 in 5 parts. Each part will be equal to 50 rupees. So C gets 1 part, which means C gets 50 rupees. How much will B get? B will also get 1 part, 50 rupees. How much will A get? A gets 3 parts. Each part is 50, 3 parts will be 150. So option 3 is the answer. If A's amount is to be calculated, right? Option 3, if A's amount is to be calculated. Here the answer is option 1, 50. Chalo, the last question for the session, and here's, it is on your screens. Quick, you have 30 seconds for this. Your time has started already. There's a 4% increase in volume when a liquid freezes to its solid state. The percentage decrease when the solid melts to liquid again is. Simple percentage concept, but has been very interestingly formed in terms of liquid converting to solid and solid, kind of melting to liquid. Got it? All right, answers pouring in, and I think 311 by 13 is the most common response there. Glad to see that you've been able to crack it without much of a difficulty. Let's look at this now. See what it says. There's a 4% increase in volume when a liquid freezes to solid state. The percentage decrease when solid melts to liquid again is. Interesting question, right? There is a 4% increase in volume when liquid freezes to solid state. The percentage decrease when the solid melts to liquid. So basically there is liquid which turns to solid. There's a 4% increase he has talked about, right? So I can say that if the volume of liquid was 100, the volume of solid is 104, because there has been a 4% increase, right? There's been a 4% increase. So 100 becomes 104. What will be the decrease, percentage decrease? What will be the percentage decrease when the same solid melts to liquid again? So from 100 it has become 104. So what happens when the solid melts to liquid? 104 will become 100. Yes or no? 100, which was the volume of liquid, has become 104, which is the volume of solid. But when the solid melts to liquid, 104 becomes 100. 104 becomes 100. What is the decrement? What is the percentage decrease? The percentage decrease is, actual decrease by initial value. See, earlier the initial value was 100, final value was 104 when we move from liquid to solid. But now we are looking at changing from solid to liquid. So initial value is 104. The difference is how much? 4. Difference remains same, 4. But initial value has become 104. So difference, final minus initial by initial, into 100. You know, right? Percentage change, which is percentage increase or percentage decrease, is equal to final minus initial by initial value into 100. So final minus initial is 4, initial value is 104. So 4 by 104 into 100. Simplify this. So it's like, 1 by 26 times, right? 4 into 1, 4 into 26. 100 by 26. 100 by 26 is like 50 by 13. 50 by 13 can be taken as 311 by 13. 311 by 13 percentage. Option 4 will be the answer. All right. Yes, I'm glad that all of you got option 4 there. Simple question. You just have to, reverse the calculation, right? 100 becomes 104, 104 becomes what? And with this question, we come to the end of this session. I think we've solved 20 questions chosen from the last year's papers. Again, these are not questions from the same paper. There were multiple sets. We have chosen questions from different sets there, right? And like I've mentioned in the, start of the session, we have planned for 4 special sessions where we will discuss those topics which are exclusive to the SSC CGL exam. These sessions have been scheduled on Fridays, the next 4 Fridays starting from this week, and the session will be from 6 to the usual time, right? 6 p.m. onwards. And what kind of topics will we look at? We'll look at topics like algebra, surds and indices, geometry, and trigonometry, heights and distances, etc. So do join us in those sessions as well, along with the regular sessions that we have on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. All right. And I think the key takeaway from the session today should be that it's about numbers. You should be able to play with numbers as quickly as possible. And I think cut down the number of steps. We can do really well in quantitative aptitude. It is a scoring subject, especially when it comes to the SSC CGL exams. And more so when we are looking at the non-trigonometry, non-geometry, non-algebra type of topics, right? Easy. Just cut down the number of steps, try to do the calculations mentally, and use smart methods, right? Elimination. You've seen that in many questions we have used elimination technique. Of course, we are not able to come to the final answer just by elimination, but you should be able to do that. It doesn't take much time. Like 4 to 5 seconds, you'll be able to eliminate 2-3 options. And if you're lucky and if you're able to eliminate 3 options, you don't have to solve the question at all. Because if 3 options are eliminated, you're left with only 1. And that has to be the answer. There's no other choice. Yeah. So I think just keep that in mind, and when you solve questions and practice on your various concepts and various topics in this 1 month before your SSC CGL Tier 1 exam, try to implement these techniques, right? Elimination and whatever we have discussed, right? And practice on your mental ability to do calculations. Okay. On that note, let me close it here. Thank you once again for joining us. The session has actually got really extended. We are supposed to close it at 8, but it's 8:50 already. Apologies for that, but I'm glad that all of you were really engaged through the session. So thank you so much for joining us in this session. Do join us for the next session as well, which is on Thursday at 6 p.m. I think it's going to be on general intelligence and reasoning for the same SSC CGL Tier 1 exam. Until then, keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. Bye.